If you've ever enjoyed the Monday night game because it ended up proving your week one prediction correct, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Tuesday, September 23rd edition. We have some news about Tylenol that we're going to go over. Hope everyone can stay calm during that. Got some news about Tylenol. We've got more Fed stuff. Micron earnings tonight. It's a T3 Tuesday. We have Anne-Marie scheduled for today. We got a loaded up day for Tuesday here. We had a good start to the week yesterday. We are going to continue those good vibes here today without a doubt. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for September 23rd, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all enjoyed the Monday night game and had a great rest of your Monday evening after a fairly successful Monday here to start the week again. Good to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. EKS is first. Let's go, EKS. Good morning, traders. Another day, another all-time high in gold and 12% away from all-time highs in silver. Also not mentioned in there, the SPY hit an all-time high yesterday. Just keep dealing with all-time highs, EKS. Good to see you here this morning. Glad you're locked and loaded and ready to go. D, good morning. Let's make some money today. Indeed, that's what we're here for, right? Bang. Good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Jane, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back. Catherine, likewise. Okay, who is Lando? Lando Norris, the F1 driver. Lando Calrissian, the former owner of the Millennium Falcon. Those are the only two Landos I know. And I would say that I don't even really know them. I just know of them. Marty, good morning. Oracle and Meta on the stove cooking. Oracle and TikTok. Gotta love Oracle. Oracle has just been an absolute massive winner. One of the best tech stocks. Looks like there actually might be some more in that. Continues to be strong. We'll see. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Okay. So you were talking about the F1 driver. Okay, sweet. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good morning. Welcome back. Thoughts on Lyft? Let me actually add that to the list here. Lyft has recently moved. My initial thoughts were on that where, man, I was like 2 months too late on my trade idea from the unusual options that we flagged here on this show, I think all the way back in April. That's my initial thought. Just missed that huge pop. That would have been a good one. But that's how it goes sometimes, especially with options. Bigabees, good morning. Bigabees, it was fun watching you count down the points to your victory yesterday in the fantasy football. That was some good stuff. Good morning. Welcome back. Let us know what you have on deck here today. Ryan, good morning. Welcome back. Azrar, good morning. It's good to see you again. Welcome back. Bernhard, welcome back. Mama Bear, welcome back. Big Dave and Chuck, welcome back. Kayla, hello. Good morning. Shady, good morning. Dirkus, welcome back. Bobby, welcome back. Empyrean, good to see you, my man. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Gary, good morning. Tom, good morning. The best community on YouTube. Yes, it is, Tom. Yes, it is. And we work hard for that. Believe me, a lot has to do with your feedback, by the way. Blazed Rhino, good morning. Neville, good morning. Hector, good morning. Just passing through. Good morning. AE, good morning. Yes, that girl. Good morning. All the good vibes. Here we go. JJ, good morning. Maverick, good morning. Richard Judge, welcome back. Good morning. Sean, good morning. Paulo and Parvez, good morning. Phil, good to see you. Welcome back. Special K, good morning. Scott, good morning. Dan and Jeffrey, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Dara, good morning. Krishna, good morning. Can you please take a look at Plug? Sure, we can add Plug to the list. That's just one of those day trader stocks, frankly. I don't think there's a long-term story on there that's legit, but we'll add that to the list and we'll get to that when we can, Krish. All right, folks. Let's take a look at our stock market today. All right, futures flattish ahead of Tuesday morning's opening here. S&P futures down by 0.03%, basically at unchanged. Dow futures up 0.11%, and the NASDAQ futures down 0.04%. So we are pretty much just dancing right around the flat line. Big things here today. We do have Fed Chair Powell speaking, and yes, we will be streaming that here on our channel. So if you're looking to actually watch that when it takes place, this is the channel for that. Producer can help you out with the time and the link if it's different than what we have, but that's coming up here today. Let's take a look at some cues from the last session here. Information technology and utility stocks bucked the overall market trend to close higher, while most sectors on the S&P 500 finished negatively. Communication services, consumer staples, and consumer discretionary stocks recorded the biggest losses on Monday. U.S. stocks still settled higher, with the NASDAQ composite gaining over 150 points as major large cap indices extended records. These gains followed a positive week for all three major indices, during which the S&P 500 rose 1.2% and the Dow added 1%. The NASDAQ had surged 2.2% over the same time period. Gains of around 4% for both NVDA and Apple helped push the Magnificent Seven's combined valuation to over $20 trillion. The 10 most valuable U.S. companies now hold a record market cap of approximately $24.3 trillion. Now, if we take a look at some other things here that's going on, fueled by expectations that the AI, trade, and future Federal Reserve interest rate cuts will continue to power the market, stocks surged on Monday to secure third consecutive record high close. Investors are eyeing the central bank chair, Jerome Powell, who is scheduled to deliver a speech on monetary policy later today. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.13%. It actually ticked down a little bit for the first time, although it's still elevated above that 4% level. The 2-year bond was 3.59%. All right, let's take a look at some insights here from analysts, and also good morning to several more folks. Lion, Bobby, Corey, Get to the Choppa, White Chocolate Mocha, ATL Russ, Reaching Financial Freedom, Lambo Rolls, and Samel. Good morning. Welcome back, all of you. Based on his weekly commentary, Professor Jeremy Siegel expects the Federal Reserve to continue its easing cycle, setting a stage for a broader market rally into the end of the year. Despite a roller coaster reaction on Fed Day, the market is digesting a recent quarter-point interest rate cut. According to Professor Siegel's analysis of the Fed's dot plot, the central bank is signaling 2 additional quarter-point cuts this year, one in October and another in December. Now, this is interesting because just yesterday, we got comments from Fed's Musalem that the initial interest rate cut was important to get done. They got it done. But now they're going to kind of wait and see. His comments anyway, reading through them, kind of felt like we were not a lock to get multiple interest rate cuts for the rest of the year. In fact, in happy hour, when we discussed a lot of these, some of the consensus was that, you know what, we actually might just pause in October, and you might not see another cut until December. So it's interesting here that Siegel is saying the dot plot is telling him that we actually are still going to get 2 more. We'll see. He sees a high bar for the Fed to reverse this course, even with strong economic data. The Fed's caution stems from a resilient consumer. Retail sales show that demand remains firm and holiday bookings are strong. This continued strength is why a more aggressive 50 basis point cut was not considered. According to Siegel, several key economic factors support the Fed's path towards further easing. Inflation continues to cool beneath the surface, and Siegel is watching for the next week's PCE, personal consumption expenditures, print to reinforce the disinflation with growth narrative. The easing path remains on schedule as long as jobless claims stay within the 200 to 240,000 range. A persistent move above 250,000 would be considered a yellow flag. While housing remains weak, falling mortgage rates are proving a direct tailwind for turnover and construction sentiment heading into the fourth quarter. Now, we actually just got earnings from Lennar, and they were kind of wishy-washy on what they thought going forward here. It was not the most confident call. Got a nice little report there from our real estate expert last night. Overall, Siegel views the odds of a recession as low in the 15 to 20% range, with conditions pointing towards a soft landing glide path for the economy. Professor Siegel believes the investment implications are clear. The anticipated rate cuts favor specific market segments that benefit from lower discount rates and improved credit conditions. He expects a rotation that lifts broader market breadth into year end. And this is the key. We actually just talked about how there's new record concentration in a $24 plus trillion market cap for the Mag 7. There's been a number of theses here about how that can actually rotate. Talked a lot about perhaps if we get into a rate cutting cycle, small cap stocks that would benefit from said rate cuts would be more attractive, and that might make for some diversification out of the concentrated large cap tech. One of the other aspects of this that we've talked about is potential new AI IPOs that come out, like Databricks or Anthropic or something of that nature, which is also likely to draw investors, including institutional investors, out of some of the concentration in the Mag 7 and into some of the newer names. The AI bubble or AI hype train or AI theme or whatever it is that you identify it as doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And in fact, it seems to be picking up. I would imagine it would be that environment that bankers want to release some of these newer AI-related IPOs. We'll see if it shakes out like that, but a couple of things there to consider for some broadening out that we might see. The key areas expected to benefit: small caps, as we discussed, rate-sensitive stocks, and high-quality dividend payers. While these areas are poised for growth, Siegel also notes that the AI capital expenditure wave continues to power the profit cycle. The primary risks to this outlook would be an unexpected upside surprise in payrolls or a drift in jobless claims above the 250,000 mark, which he believes would alter the pace, but not the ultimate direction of easing. So I guess we're back in that game here where we're wondering how many more rate cuts do we see before the end of the year? With the one down, I think really the only choice here is one or two or none. Producer, perhaps we can put a poll together. I'd be curious to see how everyone's thoughts on this has changed ever since we've got the first rate cut and seen the market reaction to that. Just a reminder here about some key economic data today. Fed Vice Chair for Supervision, Michelle Bowman, will speak at 9 a.m. The September S&P Flash U.S. Services and Manufacturing PMI will be out by 9:45, and Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic will speak at 10. Fed Chair Powell will speak at 12:35, and again, we will carry that here. All right, let's also talk about some news with NVIDIA. I'm actually going to start with the chart here. We'll break up some of this news a little bit. Let's take a look at the chart tool. Let's also take a look at NVIDIA and see where we're at right now. So here, we'll actually start inside. This is what happened yesterday when we got news that they were going to invest money in OpenAI. And you could see we had a huge pop here midday, and we really kind of held that. Now we're drifting a little bit lower here today, but I really want to see what happens when the market opens. When we look at the daily chart, the position becomes a little bit more clear. We basically popped and traded up away from the 50 and the 20, which had been sitting on top of each other. And that brought the price right to the high area here, 183, 184, which represents all-time highs. We'll see if NVIDIA has the strength to maybe push out of this sideways range that it's been in since what, the beginning of August here. See if we take the next leg up. Still think that this 50-day and the 20-day are going to be key levels here, especially if NVIDIA cannot hold this pop, nor can it show the strength to get above this area. I would expect we come in and test some of those ranges there. One more thing that we might want to add here, just because the trend lines have really been working for us. There you go. This trend line might also act as support if NVIDIA reverses, but we are right here near all-time highs after a 4% gain yesterday. Now let's talk about the news on that. NVIDIA pledges $100 billion to supercharge OpenAI. Quote, "This is a giant project," end quote. NVIDIA and OpenAI on Monday announced a new deal to deploy at least 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA-powered systems to support OpenAI's next-generation AI infrastructure. NVIDIA pledged to invest up to $100 billion in the AI infrastructure rollout, with the first phase expected to launch in the second half of 2026. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said the infrastructure build-out is critical to meeting the AI company's future goals. Quote, there are three things that OpenAI has to do well. We have to do great AI research. We have to make these products that people want to use. And we have to figure out how to do this unprecedented infrastructure challenge. That was yesterday, Altman talking to CNBC. I believe they actually had this on in the afternoon. He goes on to say, quote, you should expect a lot from us in the coming months, end quote. And I think that led to some of the optimism that we saw reflected in NVIDIA's trade up yesterday. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang elaborated on just how large the deal is by explaining that 10 gigawatts of infrastructure is equivalent to 4 million and 5 million GPUs, the same amount NVIDIA expects to ship in 2025 and about double its output from last year. Quote, this is a giant project. He goes on to say that the newly announced deal is additive to all other projects and deals, including the Stargate project and previous commitments with OpenAI. Hargreaves Lansdowne analyst Matt Britzman weighed in. He said, quote, for NVIDIA, the prize is huge. Every gigawatt of AI data center capacity is worth about $50 billion in revenue, meaning that this project could be worth as much as $500 billion. That quote was per Reuters. So here we go. More news here on the AI theme, more eye-poppingly huge numbers and positive reactions in the stock. We'll see if NVIDIA is able to set a new all-time high here today, and we'll see if that takes the rest of mega cap tech with it. We'll also pay attention to some of the other AI names that might be connected to this, like Broadcom, Oracle, maybe even Meta. We'll see where we end up going there. Okay. Next here, let's talk about, I know this is going to be a highly sensitive issue, but we've got the best community in the world, or I guess on YouTube here. So let's deal with it like adults. Also highly recommend tea for those of you that aren't already on it. All right, Jim Cramer says Trump is creating, quote, a nightmare for KenVue as the president yesterday in a conference with RFK links Tylenol to autism or potentially. CNBC's Jim Cramer warned on Tuesday that President Trump is creating, quote, a nightmare of potential litigation, end quote, for the consumer health giant KenVue, ticker KVUE. Now, this is a stock that we don't often look at here. Perhaps we should. You know what? Before I go through the rest of this, KVUE, let's pull this up on the chart. Let's at least get an idea of what this chart looks like. First of all, as you can imagine, this chart responded to the news yesterday and sold off. If you want to take a look inside, you can see what that looked like. Here it was, really kind of drifted down. We did trade back up in the after hours, and we're holding that level here today. So we'll see if maybe we just kind of fill this gap up to 18.5. It's only about 50 cents away from the current price. And get all of that back. But if we go back to the daily chart and we zoom out here, here's what the KVUE, the KenVue chart looks like. We actually just recently yesterday broke these all-time lows here while rolling over. Let's get back to the actual story here. Cramer's comments highlight intense investor fears after reports emerged that the administration is set to publicize a potential link between the use of Tylenol during pregnancy and an increased risk of autism. Shares of KenVue, the maker of Tylenol, plunged nearly 8% when that was when that news was released. The market sell-off followed a report from the Washington Post indicating that the administration health officials plan to raise formal concerns about acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol. President Trump is expected to publicly discuss data suggesting that pregnant women who take the popular pain reliever increase the risk of their children developing autism. On social media platform X, Cramer stated, quote, KenVue with its plaintiffs' problems, the likes of which I do not envy. A sitting president creating a nightmare potential litigation over Tylenol, end quote. In response to the growing controversy and potential legal onslaught, KenVue has proactively defended its flagship product. The company, which was spun off from Johnson & Johnson, has updated its website with a statement asserting that credible, independent scientific data continues to show no proven link between taking acetaminophen and autism. The statement signals the company's readiness to combat both the scientific claims and the expected lawsuits. The spotlight on the issue presents a severe test for the independent KenVue, which was spun off from J&J in 2023. While its portfolio is diversified with major brands like Listerine, Band-Aid, and Bengay, Tylenol remains one of its most recognizable and vital products. The prospect of facing a plaintiff's problem, as Kramer termed it, threatens to mire the company in expensive, brand-damaging legal battles for the foreseeable future. KenVue here doesn't have great ratings here. We actually just took a look at the chart. Here's the thing on all of this. First of all, and perhaps most importantly, I would imagine that if you have your own personal doctor that you have a good relationship with, you should probably listen to that person instead of anyone on television, politician or otherwise. That's just my own personal take on this. The rest of this, though, depending on what comes out here, there might actually be a trading opportunity here. We just took a look at the chart. If you're able to do some of this research and conclusively prove that none of this is true, which there seems to be a huge amount of people out there that think that, I would imagine that KVUE would be a buying opportunity at some of these low levels. Now, I don't have any expertise in this myself, and I constantly preach here that you should trade what you know. This is not something that I know. No position on this, but I will follow it for the purpose of trading. We'll see how this all shakes out. But that is news there, and that immediately happened yesterday. Okay, now I also want to take a look at another show favorite here. I want to say it's a show favorite mostly because it's a Bitcoin stock, and the show here does a lot with Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related stocks. This is going to be on ticker CLSK, CleanSpark. Now, we've talked a lot about this one as far as coming off of the relative volume scanner. It sometimes has news that turns it into a mover in the morning. We also talked about this being one of the bigger plays back around COVID with all of the Bitcoin stuff. And here's a look at your chart. This actually doesn't look like a bad chart on the daily. It looks like right here that it's done a pretty good job holding 9. If you were really looking, you might see what kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders here with the start of a move higher. I'm not sure if this is actually going to materialize, but this is kind of what we see here. And CleanSpark here, ticker CLSK, by the way, up 5.5%, pretty much right to a former support area that also became a resistance area. So I think we're pretty much this 15-ish area here on this chart, probably pretty critical in terms of where we go next. It's also worth noting RSI here off this recent move higher, which was a move above the 200-day. RSI has now entered overbought territory, same with the Williams %R. So we'll see if this pulls back a little bit since it's at a resistance area and has high RSI. But nonetheless, a pretty constructive looking chart here. Let's dive into some of the news. CleanSpark stock jumps after a Bitcoin miner announces expansion plans. After the market closed on Monday, CleanSpark announced that it expanded its capital strategy by increasing its Bitcoin-backed credit facility with Coinbase Prime by $100 million. The additional $100 million in financing will be deployed into strategic capital expenditures that include expanding the company's energy portfolio, scaling mining operations, and investing in high-performance computing capabilities. Quote, "We are proud to expand our relationship with Coinbase Prime as we continue to add megawatts to our portfolio and take steps towards alternative use cases for some of our data centers." That came from Matt Schultz, the chairman and CEO of CleanSpark. It goes on to say, quote, "We see tremendous opportunity to accelerate mining growth while simultaneously optimizing our assets, particularly those near major metro centers and in our immediate pipeline, though the potential development of high-performance compute campuses, through the potential development of high-performance compute campuses." CleanSpark was previously reluctant to expand its operations beyond Bitcoin mining. The move into more diversified compute opportunities appears to be pushing shares higher after the bell, and indeed, that's where we find ourselves. Again, the $64,000 question here with CleanSpark is whether or not we have some more room from where we're at right now. If you hit this move off the 200, if you were kind of trading this for a technical, or if you did kind of see this inverse head and shoulders forming here, with this move right up into a resistance area, to me, this doesn't look like a bad area to maybe trim that position, reduce some of your risk, lock in some of the gains, and see what happens next here. No position for me, just kind of looking at the chart, the news, and telling you how I would handle this if I had a long side trade on this. How are we doing on time? Oh, we are golden, folks. We're doing really well here. Okay. Next here, Jim Cramer would like to see a pause amid the endless rally in gold, crypto, and profitless companies. So I guess just right off the top here, we don't necessarily have to do a formal poll or anything, but who agrees with Jim Cramer? Dare I even ask that? Former hedge fund manager and renowned CNBC TV host Jim Cramer is urging caution on speculative assets, which have been on an endless rally driven by speculation in recent months. On Monday, in a post on X, Cramer said that he would like to see a, quote, pause in the endless rally of speculation, end quote, among risk assets, highlighting concerns that their values might be getting ahead of fundamentals. Does that sound familiar to anyone here? I feel like we've been talking about fundamentals not making sense, being extended, being overvalued, not only just with us and our community here, but also with some of our guests. So is Cramer late to the party? Were we just missing something? You folks will have to tell me. He said this while referring to gold, crypto, and profitless companies that have been surging simultaneously over the past few months with the recent federal rate cuts, along with hints of a prolonged dovish stance by the central bank, which of course added more fuel to the fire. Analyst Ryan Dietrich, the chief market strategist of the Carson Group, echoes similar concerns, noting that there have been, quote, 12 all-time highs, end quote, for the S&P 500 during August and September alone. The only time there were more such all-time highs during these months was in 1929, a lead up to the Great Depression. There we go. The Great Depression lines getting thrown out here again. But as I've said a number of times before, nothing has changed here. Ryan Dietrich does excellent research. We will continue to cover that research. In 2025, several loss-making companies have seen their shares surge, fueling concerns of speculative frenzies and bubbles, as Cramer warns in his posts. Several examples of this would be ticker Opendoor, which our group was all over from the pennies. Shout out to our group here, by the way. One up for all of you who were all over this. Oklo is another one. Opendoor, year-to-date performance 427%. The next one here is Oklo. This is one we looked at, that we still continue to look at often. That's up a whopping 542% year-to-date. Of course, CoreWeave, perhaps that and Circle, probably some of the better IPOs that we saw here this year. CoreWeave up a whopping 233% year to date. This is after a pullback. CoreWeave was actually up significantly more than that. And of course, Rocket Lab, ticker RKLB for space theme, that is up just shy of 100%. Gold prices hit a new record high of $3,750 per ounce on Tuesday, that marking a 40.8% year-to-date rally. But Dietrich believes, quote, we aren't anywhere close to gold fever yet, end quote, since 39% of fund managers still have 0% of their funds allocated to the yellow metal. I know somebody here who's got gold fever. Looking at you, Lion Atlas, looking at you. Lion, you've been on that perhaps more or earlier, than anyone else. Economist Peter Schiff took time out of his busy schedule shaking his fist at a cloud and noted that the investment bank Morgan Stanley had revised its classic 60-40 portfolio rule across equity and debt, with the debt portion now split with gold. This move, he says, is tantamount to initiating a sell rating on U.S. Treasuries. He said this could not have come at a worse time since the, quote, the U.S. Treasury needs to issue more treasuries than ever before, end quote. This comes amid growing concerns of a bubble, with a Meta platform CEO Mark Zuckerberg acknowledging the possibility of an AI-driven market bubble, drawing parallels with the dot-com bubble during the early 2000s. Quote, there's definitely a possibility, at least empirically, based on past large infrastructure buildouts and how they led to bubbles, that something like that would happen here, end quote. Y'all folks will have to let me know how you're positioning for the crash that is being talked about now and really has been, I guess, since April. All right, let's go back to Pro here. It is a T3 Tuesday and it's 8:30. So what are we going to do? You guessed it. We are going to bring on our guest, David Prince. Please give a warm welcome for David. David, it's great to have you back. How you doing today?
Good, brother. A bit tired, but otherwise all is good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Let me ask you, are you tired because you stayed up watching the football game, or is there something else we should discuss?
Oh, yeah, but quite a game too, I heard.
Yeah, it was. Go Lions. Go Lions. Okay. David, it's actually been a minute since you joined us here. I believe you were back on in June, I think in the first half of June, although I can't remember the exact date. And we were talking about a number of stocks back then. I think one of the big ones was Apple, right? You were waiting for that Worldwide Developers Conference. And I just got to start off here with some flowers because this thing was awesome. And I think, again, it was back in June. So it was down here around $200, if I recall correctly. We had talked about on the show a potential breakout through 215. We've got a number of targets identified on the chart. Apple continues to scream higher here. So talk to us about this. I think you were looking for 220, 230. How did you end up doing here? And what do you think of Apple going forward?
It was kind of the usual. I absolutely killed it and sold too soon. The usual was the selling too soon. So myself and people that trade with me, I always said, listen, don't worry about valuation here. Don't worry. There is no growth. And the stock's not going to trade well till Tim Cook finds religion. And the minute he found religion, and I think we can all agree religion in this market is AI. Right?
Yeah.
And the minute he actually said something different, I said, this is a complete change in character. And the stock should literally trade with that change of character completely differently as well. So got very aggressive long under 210 stock and calls. And my target was 236. So once I got there, because listen, it's a no growth company, but I get it, right? And my game for the last 3 months where I find the market expensive is find the best names that still are lagging. They're not a lot, but every once in a while we find a few, and certainly Apple was, you didn't have to be smart to say, oh, here's a big name lagging, and got really aggressive, but did get out as it got to 235. Just for me, that was enough. I keep finding stocks that you can't really quantify if they're overvalued or not because we're in such an insane market. Apple, it's kind of easy to quantify that it's, not a growth company, but still trades with a much higher PE than it did for a decade. So for me, 236 was enough. Looking back, I wish I hadn't sold, but.
Well, of course, hindsight's always 2020. I often do that too. I guess my next question here is what's next for Apple? You can see here on the chart, I had 233 as a target, as a first target there from the 215 breakout. We did overshoot that, pretty much went right to 240. So we hit your target as well. Now we basically pulled back, took that out again. And now it looks like we're actually trying to test a trend line that originated back here in January of 2023, the downside of the trend.
That last high and see, it looks like it's going to try and tap it, right?
Sure does.
One thing I think we have to look at, and it's really not too complex. If they can take quantum companies, right, without any revenue to the levels they are, then it doesn't really matter if Apple trades at 30, 35 times and used to trade under 20 times. Because, well, relative to some other stuff that's going on, Apple ain't that expensive. So, yeah, it looks like that all-time high is going to, unless the market tops out today, that looks like where we're going. And don't forget, there are fundamental changes. We just heard about perhaps amazing sell-through, wait times longer, and things actually we haven't heard about wait times longer and sell-through great. I heard about a foldable phone, and of course there's Tim Cook finding religion. He even talks to Trump now. So there's enough there. It should test all-time highs.
I'm with you on that. I was just going to ask you about the wait times and some of the increased demand that we saw for the 17. We talked about that yesterday. Seems like you're on it. I completely agree with your assessment. Really good stuff, and congratulations. That was a great win. Appreciate you giving that here. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about here is NBIS. Now, I know you've been in this since the low 20s. This thing has just been an absolute monster. Absolute monster. We did just take out 100. We have another move to all-time highs here. What do you see on this one? What's next here for?
Yeah, I'll tell you just how I played it, because I played it as I saw it. So sadly, I was out. I've been in it since the 20s, but I was out before this Microsoft deal. I don't want to pretend I was in it. Would have been nice, but it certainly changed the character of the stock. So I had to find my way. So long story short, it hit 109 in after hours on that Microsoft news. And afterwards, it traded as low as 86. Between 90 and 86, I got pretty aggressive. I said, this isn't done. This will trade 100, and probably tomorrow. But it's a trade because they are going to raise capital. There's no way in hell business is this powerful and they can actually live up to their new requirements, right? They have responsibilities now. They don't have the capital to do it. So just trust me, they'll raise capital is what I said to people. So into 100, I didn't sell all, because in this market, every time I sell, it just goes higher.
Right, exactly.
But I said, just wait. There'll be a capital raise. I don't know what day. The capital raise came. It was kind of like we expected. It was two trucks, right? You had the debt side, you had the convert, you had the stock. And this is perhaps what I want to share. The best theme I found in this bull market is to find the names you like the best. Not fluffy names. I mean names where fundamentals, everything's kicking in. Look for them to raise capital, and that's your spot. So last week, between 86 and 88 again, got really aggressive. Even after the Fed announcement, there was a moment where it traded like 89. I added back to it. And my target was always, guess my target, because it's really not fancy here.
100.
109, the after hours high.
Okay.
Right? So as we've gotten into the after hours high, I'm much lighter in my book. I do not expect it to top out here forever, and I will be a buyer of dips. But in this type of market,
Perfect.
I keep telling people, like, don't try and top out the market, like figure out where it's going to go, because if you can make 20% in big cap, this is not a small cap company anymore. Right. If you can make 20% in stocks like this in a week, people forget that's a big move. That's more than the S&P moves on average a year for the last 40 years. Right? So now I'll be a buyer on dips. Does that mean 105? No, I'll probably need to see 100, but I'm still long, and I could see 120 and 130 in time. I'm a little older, so I don't drink the Kool-Aid. So some people are like, why isn't it 150 already if this does this? But my story in my head was always, if CoreWeave could be this valuation, then NBIS is far too cheap. And clearly with that Microsoft announcement, it was. So I'm a buyer of dips, but we kind of hit my short-term target.
Okay, that's absolutely amazing there. Join David's free webinar on September 25th at 4:30 p.m. Learn how to find big wins just like NBIS. Starting right now. We got a QR code on the screen. We've dropped your link there in the chat, David. Okay, got another one here for you. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it is. You said you didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Maybe it's the water then, because you continue to pick.
That one I drank.
You know, you continue to pick winners. Whatever it is that you're drinking, keep it up. TEM, this was another one here. We actually recently saw this break above a pretty stiff upside trend line. Now we pulled back beneath that and closed beneath that. What do you think's going on here with TEM? I believe that you were talking the last time that we talked about ignoring the short report, which proved to be pretty good.
Yeah. Just to keep it real, yesterday I went flat for the first time in like months. Look, we were getting to the century mark. Stocks tend to stop there. If they get over, they keep going, you know, the old game. So I saw 97. And I was like, I'm done for now. And I figured it would keep going higher, just like Apple. So I'm not like saying dumb luck. I sold the high. But what I think's going on is, you see what goes on with NBIS. You see what goes on with Oklo. You see what goes on with IONQ. You see what goes on with NVDA. You see what goes on in financial, right? It almost doesn't matter the sector, and they keep going high. And then occasionally you find a superstar within each group, and they take a break. And that's when you buy. So recently, TEM took a little break. It had gotten to like 80. It pulled back. It frustrated some short-term traders. It came into 70. We added back to the. And I said, let's let her trade. went to 80, I trimmed some, came back into the 70s, bought some, and then given how high the market is, we thought this is the real breakout. This is the get to the all-time high, which I think was right above 90, 91. I forget what it was. It was 90 something. I'm like, let it blow through, let it have kind of that insane move. And yesterday we got flat, but same concept, right? They're all the same. They're just different symbols. Let me give you an example. We know rare earth was a superstar sector, and we know MP was the lead character in that sector, right? And I was in that from the 40s, and it ran to like, I don't know, I sold it like 78, 79, it kept going in mid 80s. And then for a bit, got kind of ugly, and everyone's like, oh, the game's over, right? And it pulled back into the 50-day. And for about a week, it wasn't so much fun. And I kept buying 62, 61, 63, 62. Now everyone likes it again. So basically what I'm doing is I have a kind of crop of names, not too many, maybe, I follow thousands of stocks, but a good 15, 20. And every once in a while, they give you a shot. Remember when no one liked CoreWeave because there was a lockup in a secondary and it was under 100? I was loud on Twitter. I'm like, this is your shot, buy it. So it's basically the same game, just sort of different symbol. I am not buying IONQ today. I'm not buying NVDA today. I don't have FOMO because you don't need to have FOMO. There's always something that isn't in vogue for a few moments. And that's kind of my market mantra at this moment.
Yeah, that's great. That's something that we talk a lot about here. We are constantly preaching don't have FOMO. We talk about how to avoid that and everything. Really good stuff there. All right. We also talked about Snow and MDB the last time that we were together here. Those are both look like winners here. Welcome to cover any of these that you want. But if you have anything else that you're looking at that you want to go after, I'm all ears, and so is the chat.
Okay, a couple things. First off, on those, it looks like MDB this season, this quarterly season, earnings season, really became the superstar. I think it's a breakout quarter. It's clearly a breakout on the stock. And here's another example, stock that would not pull back. It's finally pulling back. And as it pulls back, this is probably your opportunity because I don't think it's done. So right now, I'm actually MDB over Snow. I did okay in Snow, but I did play it for earnings and got burnt. So lost, just, I lose money too, but I did it via calls. MDB, though, it's funny. Actually, I can't remember if I did well on earnings. I think I lost money, but here's a great example. So I think MDB and Snowflake reported, if I remember correctly, the same week as NVIDIA, right? And I wrote about that. I'm 99% sure. And I wrote about this on Twitter. And everyone was talking about NVIDIA and is it going to work and is it not going to work? And I said, listen, look at what the stock's done. It'll probably burn every put buyer, every call buyer. And I think you got to look at software, which has done a whole lot of nothing but go down because everyone's decided AI has killed all of these companies. Are they all built the same? Maybe a few actually have products that they can sell via AI that actually make their companies more efficient. By the way, I believe MDB, it's called Atlas, and they're killing it. And MDB was a superstar. So just another theme, like each sector has its moment where it's not as cool anymore, right? Quantum will, for a moment, be down at some point. Who knows when? And maybe that's your spot. By the way, speaking of quantum lagged for 6 weeks till this recent run. No one cared about quantum anymore, right? Everyone said it was over. And then look what just happened in 3 weeks. So that it's like different symbols, same concept. MDB is a superstar. And I guess because a lot of people know me for it, I got really aggressive BMNR at $31.
By the way, you were absolutely right on those earnings reports. MDB was the day before NVIDIA, and Snow was on the same day as NVIDIA. Good call on that.
That was the win that week. It was really about software, not NVIDIA, right? Thanks for checking, because honestly, I couldn't remember.
Hey, look, I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone before the last Bears game. So I'm with you on all that. I got your back, no problem. How about BMNR here?
So I got really aggressive, right? And it was insane. And I sold everything at 65. It kept going to like 71. Recently, some lockups, some nerves, and it flushes, right? It gives everyone a chance to get back in. What I wanted to mention is it's rare you get it. Like Michael Saylor's cool, one of the brightest guys I've ever come across.
Yep.
But this is a bit different, right? You have like a bunch of superstars. I mean, Peter Thiel and Tom Lee and Bill Miller. Like, it's just a group of superstars. You get to bet on an asset that might just finally be breaking out. I get it, it's just pulled back recently, but overall, while Bitcoin was making many a new high, the Ethereums, Solanas, etc., were not, right? Now they did a deal yesterday that some are like, oh, this stock's got to go higher. They sold stock at 7. That's not the way banking works. They gave such large warrant coverage, it was actually in a way dilutive. So you might get a shot to buy stocks like this that may not look so perfect. Last week, everyone loved it. I had a 65 short-term target, so I sold those. Again, like always, I held some. It pulled back. I'm back into it. Yesterday, it was kind of my main focus. 55s, 54s. And this morning, honestly, when it bounced, like at 4 a.m., it was like 56.80. I trimmed some. I think you'll be able to look at a few names that take a break. This one is now taking a break. That deal probably put a short-term top, but you get to invest alongside some of the smartest guys around. You have constant promotion from a very bright guy who also happens to be on TV a lot, Mr. Lee. And I don't think Ethereum's done. I think, what's his name at Fundstrat has it right, and it'll be above 5,000. So that's one on dips. I would definitely be aggressive.
Okay, that's great to hear. BMNR is popular in our community too, and you're right about Tom Lee over there at Fundstrat. He has been spot on for a lot of this, and he's given BMNR its plus.
But he's been right.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
hey,
to make fun of that, the guy's killing it, right? I wish I was as right as Tom Lee.
I was going to say, I wish I was as right as often as Tom Lee, right? That's really good stuff. Okay, real quick, to join David's free webinar on September 25th at 4:30 p.m. Learn how to find the big winners starting right now. QR codes on the screen, the links in the chat. Dave, you got anything else for us before we send you off here on this Tuesday?
I do want to mention, I made a big call on Solana, and I'm not a crypto expert, but we keep seeing like themes, right? And you go first in the theme, NVIDIA, and then you go from NVIDIA to Broadcom, then you go Broadcom MBIS, right? And CoreWeave, and you go Bitcoin, then you go Ethereum, then you go Solana. And Solana was a big one for me, under 200. I played it via the Ultra SOLT 20 to 22, and it had a run recently to 34. Getting that pullback on Solana and thus the equities that represent them. I like to go with the one that's a little more dangerous, SOLT. I think Solana is not done. I just think you have to buy it while it's up. I'm not a believer in chasing these when they're hot. So I actually got flat 33, 34 last week. And I added back to it again yesterday.
Okay, awesome. Buying dips, selling rips. That has worked for a while. We got a lot of Solana fans here, so really timely mention here.
They probably know a lot more about it than me in terms of what it actually does.
You and me both, brother. I just take a look at the charts. That's just how it goes. Folks, join David's free webinar on September 25th at 4:30. Scan that QR code. Get it done. David, we cannot thank you enough for your time. Really good stuff. Tell you what, keep picking winners for us, all right?
I'll try.
All right, David. Take care. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll catch up with you next time. That is David Prince from T3. I keep telling you guys that every T3 guest we bring on here is awesome. They all look at different things, and they all seem to find really tradable setups time and time again. A lot of these folks are looking at the same stocks that you folks are here. We are grateful for that. Again, if you're interested, scan that QR code. All right, folks. We're going to get some of the movers there. I finished all of the news. I did so well with the amount of time that I had and all of that. Man, oh man. Let's take a look at some of the movers here. We're going to start with Silo. Whis giving us a shout right here. Love seeing this. We'll take a look at it, Whis. Benzinga on the news early on Silo. It's what I like to hear. And Whis, I'm so glad that you brought this up here, because this is one of the things that we're gonna talk about this here real quick, and then we're gonna bring on 13. One of the things that Benzinga does here is we have exclusive news. Now, what that means is that we get news with the company, we publish it, and in this case, as you can see here today on Silo, the news that we had given to members was actually 23 minutes before the PR. So if you had a news feed that was filtering for only exclusive news, or if somehow you expected some of us, these specific names, to get news, you would have actually gotten this before the PR. So when Wiss says that Benzinga on the news early, this is what he means. While we can't do this for everything, we continue to try and grow our exclusive news coverage to try and give you that news as fast as possible. Remember, the ethos here at this company, not just me, but here at the entire company, the ethos here is to raise the tide for everybody. If there's an opportunity where we can give you folks news prior to the press release, giddy up. That's going to be great. Now, taking a look at this, and taking a look inside, did I get, it looks like I got the wrong, it looks like I have my stock broke there. Here we go. Here's Silo. As you can see, this is when it really started to go, right? We had this initial move. It got sold pretty much all the way back down. Let me make this a little bit bigger. It got sold pretty much right back down to where it started. And then the PR dropped. Stock went higher, volume went higher, giddy up. Wiss, hope that helped you. Let's go ahead and break some of these down. I guess we can start with Silo here, but let's bring on our ace in the hole. Let's bring on 13. 13, good morning. How are you doing? Perhaps most importantly, how'd you do in fantasy football this week now that the games are over?
Well, thanks to David Montgomery, I had a pretty killer evening.
That's what I like to hear. Big smiles from 13.
Let's
go.
That was a pretty wild game. Lots of really lots of ground action. We saw 4 touchdowns on the ground.
4 touchdowns on the ground. We saw several fumbles with the running backs putting the ball on the ground. 2 heavyweights slugging each other back and forth. It was a great game. I gotta say though, I might be getting too old, 13, because I fell asleep before the end of the game. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, well, it wasn't a Bears game, so you get a pass.
I appreciate you giving me a pass. Okay, nonetheless, good game. 13, good morning. It's great to see you. Welcome back.
Good morning, chat, by the way.
And I think I'm just going to start with Silo here because I was basically just taking Wiss's lead on this since we did do an exclusive on here. Shout out again to the Benzinga news team. Silo Pharma shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a strategic agreement with Fireblocks to advance in a crypto treasury strategy, acquisition, and security. First thing we're going to do here is add this. This already had a Bitcoin treasury angle. We're going to add that to the altcoin treasury here. You can see we just kind of covered the movement here. Stock ripped up to about 135. We're pulling back and it's doing its absolute damnedest to hold on to the dollar level. We'll see if it's successful in doing that. Quick look around the horn on this one. 2.5% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of under 1 million shares, 668,000 to be exact. Today we've traded 14.8 million and the float on this is 9.2. 13, what do you think here on ticker SILO, Silo?
I don't know how much there might be here on this one. Coming right back beneath VWAP right now. Looked at their financials. It seems like they're okay for 2 or 3 quarters based on their cash burn rate. So they will have to do a capital raise at some point. I mean, it's a biotech company. They always do that. But I don't know anything about Fireblocks, so I can't tell you how good or bad that is. Looking at the chart, we need to get back above that VWAP. We need to hold this dollar area. We're going to get a different animal once we start trading underneath the dollar into penny land. So that's all I've really got to add to this. Let me look at the daily chart here, see where we're at. Because to the upside, 119, 120, that looks like to be the biggest resistance area from here. Once you get into above 120, you get a lot of consolidation back from earlier this year. There's some other resistance up in the 150s, but beyond that, I don't really have much to add to this.
Okay. We'll see how Silo trades here today. It is pulling back, as you mentioned, right to the VWAP. It's literally sitting right there. So perhaps it's not done. We'll see if we get another volume expansion away from this area. That might be our trigger. Okay, I'm not sure what you did have time to cover here today. So without your lead, I'm just going to start at the top, but feel free to go anywhere else if you'd like. First one at the top of the list here is going to be ticker IBG. This is Innovation Beverage Group, and this stock was a penny stock yesterday, 35 cents yesterday. We're up 271% here in the pre-market, up an entire dollar. They entered into a non-binding letter of intent for merger transition with Block Fuel Energy. So that's what's going on here with this. It is fresh as of this morning. Let's see if there's anything else that we got here. Looks like it was halted. All right. So I haven't gone through that PR yet. We'll see if 13 has. No pressure, by the way. Short interest on this, 2.04% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. It comes on an average volume of 2.23 million. Today we've traded 54 million plus. Float on this is 7.28. 13, did you have time to cover this one? And what do you think?
Block Fuel Energy is a Texas corporation that's engaged in combining oil and gas exploration with state-of-the-art power generation to power Bitcoin mining operations. So this is going to end up being a Bitcoin play, but that's if they end up with the merger. This is just a letter of intent. They did go into an explanation of how this would shake out if the merger were to happen. The Block Fuel Energy shareholders, BFE for short, once the merger, if the merger does happen, they will end up with 90% of the post-merger company. IBG will have 10%. They also have IBG also is set to do a 5-for-1 split later this week on the 26th. So that's another thing to watch out for. Probably good idea not to be holding this when that happens. But one thing that I found that was interesting was that they had an independent fair analysis report that was conducted by Marshall and Stevens Transaction Advisory Services, and they determined that post-merger value of IBG, it would take it from market capitalization of 2.9 million to 6.3 million, which is where it's at right now, to 22 to 34.3 million post merger. That means that that would kind of give this valuation, the company valuation, on a per stock basis of 237 to as high as 370. So those are some targets we could look for here. The price potentially could move up to that range of 237 to 370.
Okay, really good stuff there. IBG, we'll see what we get for that. Great mention here by the chat with saying IBG will own 10%. The move is likely done, at least for now. We'll see if that shakes out. Kelly AB here saying IBG reverse split on September 26th, as you covered there, 13. So there is a reverse split coming here. We'll see what that does for the stock. Okay. There you go. Good breakdown there. All right. Next here is going to be SLE. This is Super League Enterprise. Now, a couple of things here on this one I'm going to start off with. This one used to be Super League Gaming. This used to be ticker SLGG back in the day. And in fact, that SLGG stock was actually one of my best trades for a long time. We had a nice 5-figure trade on that as we rode that from about 170 to 11-ish. That was years ago at this point. They've rebranded now, changed the ticker, SLE. A couple of things to note on this company here. Actually, I had the note here. CEO is Anne Hand. Okay, she's the executive chair there. She's good. She's got a lot of experience, but boy, she likes to raise money. And that's one of the things that we've seen here with SLE. Now, what's going on with this? Super League Enterprises announces the execution of a definitive documentation for a private placement financing to be undertaken solely with accredited investors, anchored by a $10 million strategic equity investment from Evo Fund. Expects to receive between 12 and 20 million in gross proceeds from the private placement. So this is what's driving the stock higher here today. We are holding higher by 160%, just about. Take a look at the short interest here. It's notable. 11.47% of the float is short here with 3.88 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 287,000. Today we've traded 16.2 million, and the float here 1.1 million. So SLE, what do you think here, 13? Do we have another opportunity in an old friend?
Well, just like SLGG, the company is still needing money. So there's no surprise there. Private placement of 12 to 20 million in proceeds, that does help its cash position, which is not great at the moment. So that's, if this goes through, that'd be certainly helpful for the company. 1.1 million shares in the float. This has the potential to move around pretty easily. There's also a little bit of a short interest here, 11% with 3.8 days to cover. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Just my 8 o'clock reminder.
I was going to say, that's the emergency alarm. Oh, shit, I'm late.
Just want to know when we, anyway, it's 8 o'clock. So that's all you need here. That's all you need to know.
8 Central, by the way, 9 Eastern.
Yeah, here. So to the upside, the only levels I have for this are going to be at 710, 950, 1150, and 1250. Those are, I know I had those levels marked off for a particular reason other than they look like support and resistance areas. But anyway, I think I was basing it off of the price action this morning because down at the 712, that was where the impulse move initially came back for support. So that's why I have that level. 950, that's kind of where we topped out at and also got support after the next leg up. So that's where 950 comes from. And then we have the 1150 and 1250, which were kind of where we were topping out at. So those two might be really difficult to push through if we get back up there. So right now we don't want this to go any lower than that 712 level that I mentioned or the 200 EMA. If it does, then this is probably going to be done for the day or the morning at the least, and we'll just want to look at something else. So not too far away from me just kind of writing this thing off, but if this continues to go sideways a little bit into the open and starts to recapture that 65 EMA and goes on to pick up 950 in the VWAP, we'll have something here.
Okay, good stuff there. SLE definitely will be on watch here. I'd love to be able to hit this again for a day trade. Well, I'm not looking for a long-term position. It'd be sweet to
like visiting an old friend.
Yeah, just kind of rekindling some of the good memories there. Maybe make some more money on the side. We'll see. All right, next here.
I just want to make sure that I mentioned it. The company does need cash. Yeah. That's why they have the private placement. IBG also needs cash. But if they go through with this merger, they're probably not going to need to do that. So just keep that in mind with these two. They do need capital.
Okay, and they have a history, at least SLGG, SLE has a history of raising that in the past. Okay, next on the list here is going to be ticker GLTO. This is Galecto. This stock went from about $3 to $7 here in the pre-market. We pulled back beneath the VWAP. It does look like we tried to hold maybe 450-ish, and we tried to curl back to the VWAP. That VWAP is currently at 558, so we'll see if we're able to cross that and maybe build and move above. See what the news is here on this one. Nothing. No news. So stock up 67% on pretty good volume and no news. Yeah, 40 million shares. The stock on average trades under 100,000 and we don't have news. That's sus. Taking a look here at the short interest. 0.98% of the float shorted, 2.33 days to cover, but that days to cover is because the volume here is normally a ghost town. Float is exactly where we'd want it for some of these trades, 1.278 million. What do you think on this 13? Just all technicals with no news? What do you think?
Well, it doesn't seem like they're going to need to raise capital for now. At their current cash burn rate and the amount they have in their bank, they could survive for another 3 quarters. 2 or 3 quarters, then they'd be fine. So before they need to raise some capital, so that's something to keep in mind. It's unlikely that they would need to do that today. And to your point, no news. We haven't had news since last month with this company, so not sure what's moving it here. We do have a low float, 1.27 million shares in the float. So some searching around probably just caught somebody's eye and said, hey, we can move this thing. That would be my guess. I don't have any idea why it's going or if there's anything connected to this that we've had with other news that's causing it to move. But look at the chart and kind of get an idea of where some of these support resistance levels are. And when I look at what's going on with GLTO on the 5-minute, it seems like it's trying to recover from the selling that it had earlier in the pre-market here, but it has not recaptured VWAP. And that VWAP area is right above an area of resistance that looks to be at about, I want to say 575 seems to be about the resistance area. Mm-hmm. So that's just right beneath VWAP. So let's look at VWAP and the area right beneath it as the next area of resistance for the price to get through. Otherwise, this looks like we could continue lower to the 65 EMA for support. I don't know where the support's going to be at. I'm not even sure if this is going to be able to continue. There is a bit of a trend line if you want to draw that. I don't know if I'd really rely on it right now. This thing isn't really moving. It's not really moving that much at all. So I think for this one, I would just be more comfortable just waiting to see what it does out of the open because the volume just doesn't seem like it's there.
Yeah, with you on that. We've already seen the volume compress here in the pre-market. Maybe it does come back, but with no catalyst here, 13. We need as many helpful indicators here, and volume is going to be one of them. So really good stuff there. We'll see if that ends up working out. All right, next one I have here is SSKN. Did you cover this one?
No, but we can live.
Okay. So here we go. So this was about $1.50 yesterday. We did trade above $4 here in the pre-market, and again, bled a lot of these gains back. This is actually down to this 250-ish area, which we found some resistance with initially on its way up. Strata Skin Sciences, rather. Highlights. Peer-reviewed study showing superior efficacy of its 308 nanometer excimer laser in combination with oral JAK inhibitor in vitiligo treatment. I'm not even sure what that is. Looks like we've got some good news on a combination therapy here. That's driving the stock higher by about 50%. We take a look at the short interest, 2.43% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1 million shares. Today, we've traded 70.5 million shares, 70.5. Float on this one, 3.29 million. 13, I'm going to leave the chart here, and I am actually going to step away a little bit early. I'll be back in less than a minute.
Okay. So this treatment that they're talking about here, I believe it, I'm going to mess the name up, but I know what it is. Vitiligo. That's the same condition, the skin condition that Michael Jackson had. So that's what that is referring to. Now, I haven't had a chance to look through this, so I don't know, how great this is or anything. But I'm just going to go with the technicals and the fundamentals that I can see real easily here. Looks like they do have some revenue, but they're still operating at a loss. They have a little less than $6 million in the bank, so probably going to be fine for at least one more quarter. But that next quarter, they're going to have to consider doing a capital raise unless they're already doing it or thinking about doing that now. As far as the chart goes, I don't like the price action we've had here this morning. We did get a higher print up to 418 compared to the one afterwards that tried to get up to that same level, about an hour or so later. To me, this kind of looks like a double top. So I don't know how great this is going to be based on the price action we've had in the pre-market this morning. We are coming down to a support area. It looks like you could consider it about 255, 250, and then you have the 200 EMA right beneath it. That is also going to provide the next area of support. I don't even know if those are going to hold up, to be honest. This chart doesn't look great to me. I think we would just have to wait to see what this does out of the open as well. Because if we go down to that 200 EMA and we lose that, we're going to be pretty close to coming right back to the starting point for this one. So I don't know how great this is going to be. I think I'll wait for the open to see what this does.
Okay, I think you're spot on here. We really kind of want to wait this out. Maybe it does find some support down there at 221. We'll see. All right, really good stuff on that. Next here, I've got IPDN. Which I feel like we've traded this a number of times before. Yeah, stock about 280 yesterday, popped above 650 here today. Very similar to the last couple that we've taken a look at as they've really bled back, extended here from the View app. IPDN, let's see. It looks like we had a form. It looks like we had some SEC forms yesterday. Stock is up 51% on this. So Form 8 and a Form Pre-14C. I'm actually not sure what's in those. Take a look at that, I guess, here in a little bit. 4.92% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 7 million shares. Today we've traded 23.5. Float on this is 2.1. 13, you got anything here on our good old friend IPDN?
Well, I'm just looking at the chart right now, and it looks like we're trying to kind of bottom this sell-off that we've had here in the pre-market. Just wait. I think I would wait to see if this is actually going to be the bottom. It looks like it's kind of trying to form an inverse head and shoulders, but I'm not sure if that's what we're getting here yet. We would need to see this get back above 450. So if we start trading back up, we recapture 450, and hold above there, I think we might be seeing a reversal in IPDN that we could try and trade. Otherwise, I don't know how great this is going to be. It really does look like that 460 area, that 450 to 460 area is going to be tough to get through based on the after hours price action we got. So that's just what I would be looking at here. If we can get above 450, hold it, and make our way through 460, that we might be getting a reversal here in IPDN. I think that's something you should watch for.
Okay, really good stuff. Good breakdown there. All right, next here is going to be BETR. And I'll tell you what, big time shout out to Izzy, who brought this to our attention yesterday. I actually did have a news story here, so I'm going to kind of cherry pick from this a couple of things about this. Shares of Better Home and Finance surged after hedge fund manager Eric Jackson revealed on Monday that his firm has taken a position in the stock. This is what Izzy was telling us yesterday. Eric Jackson is the same guy that really started to drive Open Door Technologies. He says here, Better is the Shopify of mortgages. It's rebuilding a $15 trillion industry from scratch with AI. I believe Better is a potential 350 bagger in 2 years. They laugh at Better now at 34 like they laughed at Carvana at 350 and Open at 51 cents, but this is no meme. So if for anyone that wants this, this also has links to the tweet. I know Jay provided us with the Open Door tweet thread that Eric Jackson created, so I'm going to try and pay that forward and do it here with this news story, which is why I wanted to cover it. There it is. Link is in the chat there. We'll also have links to the tweet thread. Going back to Pro here, here's what we've got. We popped high. There was a halt fest on this. It retraced. This is totally normal. We see this all the time. The important part here is that we actually drifted higher in the after hours, drifted higher in the pre-market here today, and that carved out a pretty good resistance area. I'm just going to go ahead and call this 69. Nice. We'll see if we're able to break above this area and move higher. It is worth noting that the impulse candle from yesterday was 94. So if you're looking at the candles to tell you what the range is here, sure, a 69 break unlocks the $94 price target. I don't know that we're going to go there, FYI, but this is one of the things that we're seeing here from the charts. Looking at the short interest, 7.85% of the float shorted with 6.42 days to cover. So while that's not ridiculously high, it's still elevated over some of these. On average, Better trades 198,000 shares. This morning already, it's traded 665,000. And yesterday, let's see what we ended up finishing at yesterday. We traded 7.57 million shares yesterday, so way over the average. Looks like this tweet and thread are making the rounds. 13, what do you think here on ticker BETR?
Noticing that their balance sheet just improved over the last quarter, but I also see that their debt grew substantially, more than doubled. So it looks like they did some kind of financing or something, because their debt exploded and their assets exploded. So I'd have to go back and see what it was that they did if I was really that interested. But it seems like their balance sheet's much better. They're still not profitable, though. So I guess that would be the concerns that I have on that side, that they would run out of cash sooner than expected. I don't know what, but like I said, they've done some financing recently. I don't know what that is. So maybe that's going to help them. But let's see, BETR. Let me look at the chart and see what we got here. So this chart looks like it's been topping out all pre-market, which isn't a great sign. Seems like 69.20, as you had mentioned, there was the high of the pre-market here, and we've been kind of like making slightly higher highs, except for this current peak where it's lower. I think we need to see the VWAP hold here. We need to see it hold into the open, otherwise we're going to go on to lose. I think the 65 EMA, which has been getting a lot of pressure and having to do with a lot of support, and if that doesn't hold, I think we have a date with what is this level? The $58 level. I think we'll go down there before we hit the 200, and we might get some support there. So that might be a good area of support where that helps turn this around. But I don't like the way this chart looks right now. It looks like it's having a real tough time getting back up into the higher echelon of the 60s.
Okay, and we'll see if we do that here real quick. Thinking about it, we appreciate all of this here. Jackson's favorite are IREN and CIFR. He said in an interview he's investigating BITF for a possible position as well. So might as well mention that while we're covering one of the recent picks here. Okay, good stuff there, BETR. Another one here that a number of folks were mentioning earlier was DBGI, and I see exactly why. Stock was about $8 yesterday, ripped to about 23 and change, and we're all the way back down here at $10 on this. Now, Digital Brand Group shares are trading higher after its Open Daily Technologies unit was accepted into the NVIDIA Connect program. We've seen this headline or something similar to this several times, and it's been met with mixed results. I'll tell you what, this initial impulse candle and almost immediate 90+% retracement, this has me a little bit worried. This too would be another one that I would say let's wait out the opening print and see what's going on here. Quick look around the horn on this. 1.31% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average volume of 62,000 shares. There's basically no activity in this on a regular day. 1.6 million shares traded here this morning. Float is 4.5. What do you think, 13?
I think that's kind of the reason why you got that big move up
I agree.
23.32 and have it come right back in. It was just very illiquid. So you probably had like just like a handful of people looking to offload their shares. They just had their orders sitting out there, and then someone came along with a larger order and just came and bought it up. And oh no, they ended up taking all those with it. So that's kind of what I would assume that happened there. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of confidence in this right now at the moment. We're trading beneath VWAP and only going lower. Those last two candles on the 5-minute chart didn't look like confidence is really sticking around either. So this might just end up coming down to might just come right back down to where it started. I really don't know about this one. I don't have any opinion on it. If there is going to be any support to kick in, it might be at $9.
Just as you were talking, we lost the 10 handle there, plunged into that 9 handle. WIS reminding us here that the NVIDIA Connect program is free to join. All That Glitters is reminding us that this has no volume, and that's true. And I'll tell you something else, All That Glitters. If the volume that we've seen this morning dries up at all, we might be right back to ghost town status, DBGI. This one here, just given the little pop and drop here, careful on this one. Yeah. Don't get trapped in this one, right? That's the big thing.
It could do that same thing again, where it just has this really quick move up, and then it comes right back in, just like we got with that impulse move. So absolutely exercise extra caution, or don't trade this at all. But there's others that we can trade.
Yeah. All right. Last one here on the list was SLNH. I believe this is one that we took a look at yesterday when the regular session started, as it appeared on the relative volume scanner for much higher than average volume and a pretty decent move. We actually ramped into the close, popped in the after hours, and now have popped again here in the pre-market with 350 being the high. We're right down here at the VWAP at 291. So just kind of hanging in there. Let's take a look and see what the news here. Got nothing this morning. Got a Form 424B5. But yeah, nothing else fresh here. Looking at the short interest, 4.75% of the float shorted with 1.4 days to cover. Comes on an average volume of 6.77 million. Session volume here, 39.5 million. Float is 25.6 million. What do you think on this one, 13?
I think we traded this one last June.
Ooh, okay. So in addition to yesterday, it was last June, huh?
I think.
Yep, June of 2024. I think you're right.
Yeah, because I've still got my old levels marked off, going all the way up to 750, and a lot of that price action in June really encompasses all these levels. So I think that's the last time we traded this. It might even been earlier, in 2023, but I think June last year was when we traded it. Anyway, so I've got all those old levels back, so they'll come into play if we continue higher. But we need to get into the 360 area for those levels to start making their debut again. Now 315 from here looks to be the next resistance area, if not right where we're at right now. 315, 320 maybe. We just have this consolidation back from September to December of last year, where the price actually went sideways. So that's created a bit of a wall here, and it looks to me like 315 to 320 is about where the thicker parts of the the resistance are. So that's kind of the area I'd be looking at for resistance. We're right beneath it, but if we can get through that, then we should start to be able to hit those old 2024 levels that I have here starting at 360.
I'll tell you what, I love it when we have previous levels to lean on because the stocks just love to have memory. Mark Petrino talks about that all the time. Shout out to you, 13, for pulling those levels for us there. Really good stuff. Okay, the next ticker is the one that you guys are asking for. This is ticker FLD, Frank Lima Delta. This is Fold Holdings here. Fold shares are trading higher after the company announced Stripe and Visa will power its upcoming Fold Bitcoin credit card. You know what? I'd actually like to learn some more about that. This is a credit card that's tied to Bitcoin. Issued on the Visa network, the Fold Bitcoin Rewards credit card delivers up to 3.5% cash back on every purchase with no categories or deposit requirements. Cardholders earn unlimited 2% back instantly plus 1.5% back when they pay off purchases using their Fold checking account with qualified activity. Okay, so it looks like you're getting rewards here. I wonder if those rewards are in Bitcoin. It doesn't say in here.
I think it's a fractional Bitcoin.
Yeah, like do you get your reward
Satoshis
paid out in sats? That's kind of
Satoshis,
that's what
yep.
I'm wondering here. So
I
that's
believe it.
kind of interesting. You know what I would like to see, just the trade for today here aside, I would love to see if credit cards that had Bitcoin programs like this, Bitcoin reward programs, take off. Day Trader here says it does give you rewards in Bitcoin. I have a full checking account already. Day Trader, that is all. I am unsurprised, first of all, because you are one of our resident crypto experts. What do you think of this product? Do you like it? Is this something that you see kind of proliferating? Are we kind of in at the ground floor? What do you think here? Give me what you think on this. I'm curious. I have no experience with the product itself. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when it comes to insiders, there's only one reason to buy and many reasons to sell. And I don't see any selling in the insiders, just buying.
Yep, I agree. Quick look at that. Actually, when were these too? These were earlier this month. Excuse me. These were last month.
Yep.
These were the end of last month here. And I'm with you on that. So this is interesting here.
Yeah.
Okay, Day Trader here says, I'm already earning sats as a reward using the debit. I've had it for 2+ years and I love it. Day Trader, we call that boots on the ground intel. Thank you. What do you think on this 13?
I'm familiar with Fold, and I need to go and look and see if I still have all the information I had from when my friend was talking about it. So I need to double check that. But this is interesting. Bitcoin as rewards, that might that might be something that gets a lot of people interested, especially if with where crypto is starting to head to, and we have all these crypto treasuries. I feel like the general public's going to, jump on stuff like this when they figure out that crypto is. I mean, I don't think the general public's really figured it out yet, but that crypto is here to stay. So,
I would agree with you. I'm in complete agreement with you on that.
So I think that those that don't know about this, as soon as the word spreads, you might start seeing things like this prop up some more. Or a lot more interest from a general public coming in to grab it. I think this is a great thing, but I think we're also early.
Okay. Part of me wonders if this is a possible long-term ad, just given we don't often talk about that with the movers because there's generally just kind of so much here that either feels fluffy or looks crazy. But this has me wondering if there's some long-term viability in this. Just thinking out loud here. Wiss says, I love the idea. I don't like the stock. That's kind of where I fall right now, Wiss.
Because a lot of people that, are going to want that once they figure out that they should probably have some crypto, they're going to probably be like, well, how do I go about obtaining it? And they're going to start looking around. Like, how do I get it? How do I earn it? How do I mine it? And then you have this company that you just, get rewarded with it. By using your card. So I think that's kind of like the most accessible way for a lot of people that don't know anything about this to get it.
Okay, a lot of really good stuff from our chat here. You folks just continue to outperform yourselves on a regular basis. Josh here saying Coinbase is coming out with a credit card soon. Day Trader says, I got approved for the Coinbase credit card. Is that the one that Josh is talking about? And that, to me, is one of the questions here. How does a credit card like Coinbase, which is just an absolutely monstrous player in the industry, how does that compare to the FLD credit card? Curious to see how that shakes out here. Day Trader goes on to say, all Bitcoin rewards I use or I send to my ledger from the app. Okay. Really interesting stuff here. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I don't have a position on this. I'll update you if I take one. I'm interested in this. I've kind of got this on the back burner for maybe more than a 5-minute hold or something like that, more than a day trade.
It's probably not something you're going to want to grab and hold on to right now, but it's something that I think should stay on everybody's radar. Yeah,
I agree. Lynn here adding, I have Coinbase Bitcoin rewards card approved as well. Coinbase requires a Bitcoin balance to get higher rewards from Coinbase. Interesting. So they basically want you holding on to at least some to give you some of the increased rewards. That is interesting.
And with Fold having their earnings report last month, they also secured $250 million for Bitcoin expansion.
Okay. Okay. Really good stuff here. Really good stuff from the group here, too, on the movers. I'm actually going to pick one more. I know we've got 4 minutes here, but this was a direct request from someone in the chat earlier. This is Plug Power. This is one that we've looked at quite a bit here. Plug was 220 yesterday. I actually did pop and hold yesterday. Excuse me. Popping again here in the pre-market. Actually looks like we're attacking the $3 level here. Now, we do have some fresh news here from today. Plug hosts Oppenheimer at Georgia plant following a record month of green hydrogen production. Plug Power hosts Oppenheimer at the Georgia plant after they reported 324 metric tons of green hydrogen production at the plant with 97% uptime in August. You know, this is something that they were talking about earlier on CNBC when it comes to data centers, that uptime is going to become more and more important. And I think they actually want a number higher than this 97. That's just as an aside. Quick look around the horn on this one. 30% of the float shorted. 30% of the float shorted with 8.83 days to cover. This is definitely one with a high short interest. It does have all trends intact to the upside. So your short, medium, and long-term trends are intact. On average, the stock trades 69 million plus shares. Today, we've traded just shy of 30 million. Float on this is 1.15 billion, not million, billion. So it is the thickest stock with 3 C's of all of the stocks that we have traded here today. And as Zach is reminding you here, Plug has many bags. Plug has been a day trader stock around this price since I started in 2014. So I have seen this company. I've seen a lot of what they say, not hold up, et cetera, et cetera. 13, what do you think here, PLUG?
I think when we looked at this one last, it was not that long ago, like either yesterday or sometime last week. I know I mentioned the 500-day SMA and how that could be a big resistance area. We're above it right now, and we're very extended on the RSI. The next resistance level that I see is going to be at about 334. That's going to be from the high from January and the high from July last year. I really think this is going to come back in pretty soon. It kind of has to. It's very, very extended. And when that happens, it's going to kind of fill a gap here on the daily chart to where the 500-day SMA is. That would be ideal. I think if we get that, we come back in, find the 500-day as support, cool the RSI off a little bit. That'd be great to set up for the next move up. But as was pointed out, lots of bags. So we'll see how much the price gets rejected at that 334 area, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bag holders from that area and above.
Glenn here saying, put the clouds on Plug on the weekly, and sure enough, we are at the top end of that cloud.
Yeah, we got to come back in.
Yeah, this would be, so I mean, if this breaks, we'll see what happens here. But the last time that it really touched the top end of this cloud, actually the last 2 times it came back in. So something to consider there. Good stuff, Glenn. on that. Okay, that's plug. All right, last here before I flip over to the main workspace, we're about to open here. ONDS, this is got more news here today. We're trading up in the pre-market here. It actually took out 750 earlier, giddy up. We'll take that here. Ondas Holdings adds General Patrick Hudson to the advisory board. General Patrick Hudson here, Brigadier General for the U.S. Army, retired, has joined the OAS board. In this role, he will support the leadership team at Ondas as he continues to expand the strategic growth plan. Okay, we're open. Let's do it, folks.
All right, so let's see, right out the gate here, IBG, that's down, or it's trying to get supported $1. SLE, that's at its 200 EMA, trying to turn around off that level right now. What's up? Did you have something to say?
Oh no, I didn't even say anything. Sorry if I made a noise there.
No. You took a deep breath like you were about to say something.
Oh, sorry about that. I did want to echo what Day Trader is saying here. We did get 302 votes in the poll, but we only have 100 likes. Let's boost that number here. Those poll results, by the way, how many rate cuts will we see in 2025? How many remaining? 1 with 40%, 2 with 37%. So the group seems kind of split there. 18% of you say none, and 5% of you say more on that.
Getting asked about any thoughts on Hollow. This thing is super junk, and it's really only been able to give us a couple of good, really dumb trades, like when we were looking at different points of the year, like in February and August. But I don't know what's going on with this right now. I don't anticipate that anything good will come out of it, because this thing just continues to go lower no matter what kind of news it has. So be careful with Hollow, I would just say. Okay,
real quick here, SLE, that did pop off that level that you were talking about, that 200 EMA at 746. Really nice pop there. We are $1 above that more. So really good stuff. And really good stuff there. I didn't take this one, but good stuff.
And there's
it's going to halt here. 880. It's going to halt if it holds.
It looks like it's gonna. Now remember, we got a rejection earlier this morning from the 65 EMA. So just keep that in mind as we try to push through that here. We still have the 65 EMA, the 950 level, and VWAP to the upside here. So several different areas it's got to chew through. We'll see what we end up getting out of the halt.
Okay, really good stuff there. SLE halted to the upside.
Just going through some of these other ones that we looked at this morning. Silo, that's kind of going back and forth, not really moving anywhere yet. GLTO, that's down to the 65 EMA right now. Looks like it could be losing it. SSKN, that's still drifting lower towards its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. IPDN, getting support from the 200 EMA, trying to reverse now. If this does, it looks like you have some resistance around 450 and the 65 EMA. That's above it.
FTEL here, ticker FTEL. This is popping pretty nicely here, trading higher after the company secured up to $100 million facility to support the launch of its Solana-based digital asset treasury in Australia. FTEL is actually halted right now to the upside. 1432 is your halt price.
What looks nice about this is that the VWAP has, the price has been, trying to hold above VWAP. Every time it dips down there, you see some trading, but it always looks like it ends up closing above there, except for that one candle in the pre-market. But it turned right back around after that. So I'd be keeping an eye on VWAP as support. We do have a breakout level of $15, so that's something to watch for out of the halt here.
Okay.
2 stocks halted now: SLE and FTEL.
That's right.
All right, so SLNH, that looks like it opened and just went right down to the 65 EMA, and we haven't recovered yet.
Amazon pulling right out of the open here, 225. IPDN.
Yep, IPDN. That's trying to push through 65 EMA right now. If it keeps going, the resistance that it could run into is going to be at about $5. And then VWAP. GLTO also trying to reverse off of the 65 EMA, but the volume isn't great. It needs way more volume if we're going to meaningfully move back up. And then there's a resistance area at 520.
Okay, IPDN, volatile here.
Yeah. Yep, so far getting a little rejection from the 65, but it's, we still have 20 seconds left in this candle.
Stocks can halt for multiple reasons, Michelle. These stocks that we're talking about today are halting because of volatility. So they're moving very quickly, a specific amount, and they basically get halted so that investors can catch up with it.
BETR?
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I guess it really depends on how you're trading it. I, generally speaking, like to stay away from that, but if you catch one that works, it can be pretty good.
Yeah, BETR ran and into the open, went up to 72.99, call it 73, came back in, still trying to get back above this 71 level. Been struggling with that pretty much since the open and just before the open. But it's trying to get back above 71. If it does, moves over to here we go.
And remember, speaking of halts, this stock got halted several times yesterday when it was trading. Looks pretty spready here on the level 2, by the way.
Yeah, it is. So you're going to get these high prints and then right back down to where it was the moment ago. But 73, that's the high that we have here, and it looks like 71 is the spot we need to get over in order to go higher. Looks like we have another halt here, IBG. This thing went lower, halted to the downside. Now it's in under the dollar territory now, so that one not having a good open either. SLNH got that support from the 65 EMA. It's trying to reverse. What do you think?
Yeah, it's trying. I've got VWAP here at 290. To me, that's the spot that it needs to get over. Eli is asking, Ryan, what broker do you use? I use Thinkorswim as my trading platform, so my broker is Charles Schwab.
And GLTO also trying to reverse as well. Let's see, how much time do we have left in these halts, the earlier halts?
Vape King says, I'm sick of Google complaining about my email being full. I'm getting that too, actually. FTEL's open?
FTEL's open. It's going higher. This thing ran up to 19 in the pre-market. Might halt again.
1579 is your halt price if this holds here. I'm not in this, by the way.
Nope, still going.
Did not hold there, pulled a little bit. Now it's coming way back in. $13 handle now.
BETR.
This is actually going to halt to the downside here, 1378 if this holds now. Wild stuff here in FTEL, no position.
BETR, $75 now.
So we did bust above that. That's still rolling here. Nice stuff on that. I do not. So I'm getting a question here. Do you use hotkeys in Thinkorswim? I do not. My trading strategy has never really been about speed, so much so that I need to set up hotkeys. And I have a cat that walks on my desk, so I'm nervous about hotkeys being live, to be honest with you. No, I don't use hotkeys.
Yeah, those are hot paws at that point.
Hot paws at that point, indeed.
SLNH is open. It came back in beneath VWAP, still above the 65 EMA though. Looking a little weak. So better went up to 75 exactly. Came back in a little bit. IPDN, it's above 65 EMA right now. We're looking for $5 and the VWAP. It's all about MBX today.
Marcus, good morning. Good to see you again. Let me pull up MBX.
Don't see a whole lot happening here with MBX. We did get a pop out of the gate up to 21.29, and it came right back in. This thing's also got a pretty good spread on it. Looks like 25 cents at least.
Yeah, this thing, to me, to my eye here, looks like this really needs to take out 21 to move higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the spread on this one either. It needs to move, a little bit better than this. Volume is okay, but it needs to be better.
IPDN 5 test coming, by the way. I've got VWAP at 540 on that.
Maybe MBX gets going later on this morning. We'll see, but it is having a hard time with that 2065 level. All right.
And then Marcus here mentioning, and I appreciate this, Marcus, because I didn't actually even check the news pane here. Here's MBX. Marcus, yesterday, this received multiple upgrades. Looks like Guggenheim maintained its buy and raised its price target to 84. Oppenheimer raised its price target to 80 from 38, and Citizens JPM went from 38 to 61. Those last two happened yesterday, but that Guggenheim one is today. Actually, it looks like that was yesterday too, just being reiterated.
I mean, the short interest is one of the best things it has going for it. Almost 23% of the float short with 16 days to cover. If anything, this is going to be a short squeeze. But they also filed to sell 10 million shares of stock yesterday. So fellow, I think is what that's supposed to say there. MP, which we just talked about with David Prince. Remember, he added this on a pullback. That's having a nice little pop out of the open. It's a good mention there. Smoke Tuna thinks IPDN looks pretty good here. We'll see if we get that VWAP test if we get above 5. SLE still halted this to the downside here at 795. It's got to take out that seller at 5. It's chewing through it right now.
That's IPDN, huh?
That's IPDN, yep. Might be resistance too. Oh, no, you're hitting it. Yep. Still not able to get through yet, but
yeah, backed off that spot a little bit. But you're right, 13. They hit a bunch of that right there.
Mm-hmm. So we're waiting for FTEL to unhalt. Looks like SLNH and IBG, those are unhalted.
See if IPDN comes back on here and takes out 5.
Silo tried to reverse off the 65 EMA. And,
IPDN through 5 right there.
Nice.
That was one scalp done on that. Nice. See if that sets up again. IPDN, we've traded this before. I have not had much luck with this becoming a mega runner. So if I'm trading this, it's going to be quick. We just scalped that a little bit there for some lunch money. We'll eat today.
It's getting walked down right now, but still getting some support from the 65 EMA. We don't want to see that level get lost, or probably comes down to the sideways consolidation in the pre-market.
I'll tell you something too, off of that 5 spot that we were looking at, the fact that it hit that and took a major part of it told me that there was still an appetite to take that. And when it pulled back, I basically waited for it to find real kind of short-term bottom on the pull and turn around. That was my entry. Breaking through 5 was my exit to sell. Didn't get a whole lot there. I think I only got 12 cents on that, but we'll see. Yeah, Smoke Tuna saying that the last IPDN move was a mega. Like I said, I have not had good luck catching this one on the mega move, so I'm going to be happy just taking my little scalps on this one. Barat saying that the market is setting up for a big dump. This is actually something that we talked about yesterday. There's also the old adage that you sell Rosh Hashanah and buy Yom Kippur. So that started yesterday. Yom Kippur, I believe, is October 2nd. We'll see if we do get that pullback here. Market is still up near the highs, but hasn't pulled back a little bit here. NASDAQ really yanking here. Palo Alto's down. Apple pulled off of its highs. Amazon 223. Amazon's got nothing but red candles here today. NBIS pulled back to 105 from its 108 high. Looks like tech struggling a little bit here. Tesla lower as well.
Yeah, SLE, this is getting some volume, and it's trying to push up towards the 65 EMA and VWAP again, but it needs a little bit more. Silo also trying to recapture some of these smaller EMAs, the 9 and the 15. That is also beneath VWAP and still under $1. GLTO, here we go. We're losing the 65 EMA right now. This thing looks like it's going to probably continue down towards 360 before it finds some support. So that would be my expectation for the moment with that one. IPDN, this one really came back in after getting rejected by the VWAP. Maybe it finds some support down here. Better got rejected at 75, so that's coming back in. Looks like we're getting an across the board pull in a lot of these names.
Yep. SLE, by the way, retook 9, could not get in that. I actually tried to buy that, and the thing ran away from my buy order there.
SLNH, it might continue lower if it can't recapture the 65 EMA soon. Yeah, well, big rejection at the view up with IPDN. Ooh.
Question. Go ahead.
Real quick. Better Home halted to the downside now. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, that's BETR, right?
Yes. Yep.
Ed here was asking, any idea what's up with Amazon here? So a couple of things here. Amazon to close all of its Amazon Fresh UK stores. That's new that we got here this morning. It also looks like it might be reacting to the $100 billion bet on OpenAI here, with it not being a part of it. That looks to be like a negative. Let's see if there's anything else in here.
The closing of the UK stores, that seems like that's the news that's really driving it lower, because now you have no profit in those stores, but they still have those assets on their balance sheet.
There you go. Amazon continuing to try to carve out a low here.
That'd be my thought on it, you know.
Down 2% here today. I'll see if I notice any. Looks like there's some call buying in here. I don't know if there's much we can infer from this. I'll let you know if I see any repeat sweeps here on Amazon. Don't forget, we've got Anne-Marie coming up today. I don't know if she's got tickers on the docket yet. We could always suggest some as well, so that's something else to consider.
Looks like some of these names are starting to come back a little bit here. SLE holding up 65 EMA.
Now, SLE 13, I had this moving right to the VWAP. This actually did test the VWAP in my broker. I've got that at 985. VWAP here in TradingView is 1010. We got close, but didn't quite test it.
No, well, it's now beneath the 65 again. My VWAP I have for this one is 931. So it keeps going above and below.
Yeah. And mine and my broker there is 983. So we got VWAPs a little all over the map here on SLE.
We are getting a little bit of a turnaround here in some of these other names. Looks like IBG is coming right back up to its VWAP here. We'll see if that can recapture it. SLNH, this also looking like it's trying to reverse. This one is the one that needs to recapture at 65 EMA and the VWAP. Otherwise, I think we're going to come back down much lower as those moving averages and the VWAP cross the 65 EMA. Something to watch for.
Daniel here saying that none of these movers have sustained moves. Daniel, I'm seeing the same thing here so far. Smoke Tuna says that SLE needs to hold 736. It has done that so far. See if it can get a move through the VWAP. Again, no position on any of our movers here today. Marcus mentioning CLSK going for new highs. We talked about that in the news section here of the open. Here's what your Clean Spark chart looks like. Marcus, what do you think? 15 break probably sends us higher here. Clean Spark shares trading higher after the company expanded its Bitcoin-backed credit facility with Coinbase Prime by $100 million.
Nice.
Hey, Rippin' DT, good to see you here. When you talk about the 65 EMA, what time frame are you referring to? Rippin', most of the time we are referring to the 5-minute here. It is the chart that we are displaying. It is worth noting that on the chart that I'm sharing here, I keep these EMAs on. So if I check out some of the other time frames, they won't be on the 5-minute. I'll do my best to try and mention these time frames. That's a good question, but you can feel good about 90% of that being on the 5.
Yeah, and if it's in another time frame, I'll specifically say which one.
Perfect. SLE pulling back now, 850s.
Yeah, I'll typically go between the daily and the 5-minute. So just so you're aware, but I'll make sure I mention which one I'm on at the time.
Nice to see you again, Rippin' DT. He's been around since we started this thing.
Oh, right.
Big loyal supporter. Really appreciate that. Hope you're well, boss.
44 to 100 in the Qs were red yesterday, skewed by NVIDIA, Apple, and Oracle. You're talking about just like the all of the holdings in there, right? Because that's a bad market breadth.
Pony AI ripping here, 22 and change. This at the highs on volume. I didn't see if there was any news on this.
IBG
receives a buy from Goldman Sachs. That might have been yesterday. IBG
is halt to the upside. It's recaptured VWAP coming up to the consolidation area from the pre-market here. We also are getting a little bit of a turnaround happening here with SLNH. IPDN is trying to do the same thing, but it hasn't happened yet. That got rejected from VWAP. That took it beneath the 65 EMA.
Plug has gone through 3 and above the pre-market highs now. Selling volume that we saw at the open has turned into buying volume.
Hold that up here.
SLE looks like it might be trying to recapture $9 here.
Yeah, trying to get back above that 65 EMA for sure. That's where that $9 is, and that 65 EMA is on the 5 minutes. So trying to recapture that. That's at 901 that I have, 902 at the moment.
We'll see there on SLE. 3D, ticker DDD, Delta, Delta, Delta. This now trading up higher on volume, above 3 as well. Actually, right at 3 here. Don't have any fresh news from today. Ondas so far holding its pullback, trying to recapture its VWAP at 742. And there's our viewer 3D asking for some support of the channel. Let's go. I love it when a plan works like that.
So just looking at the list of Max 7s today, it looks like aside from Amazon, Meta's the other one that's getting hit the hardest.
SES, this is one that you guys were mentioning here. SES above the pre-market highs and above $2 here.
FTEL is halted to the downside. This looks like it's going to go lower. We just lost the VWAP. It needed to hold above that. This just lost it. I don't know how much I like this one anymore. I think this could come right back down to where it started. That's an ugly, ugly loss of the VWAP. Looks like SLE is trying to recapture its VWAP again and try to take out the 950 area. There's another one to keep an eye on. Silo also trying to recapture its VWAP and get above $1.
Ondas recapturing VWAP as we speak right now. Still kind of watching SLE here.
Plug Power higher now. 314 is the new high.
Okay, that's continuing to push.
Looks like MBX is trying to stop the selling that it's been having, but it's still not able to recapture the 65 EMA or any of the other EMAs and VWAP yet on the 5 minutes. So still working on that one, MBX. Looks like we are getting a little bit of a curl happening with GLTO and SSKN. They're both beneath
SSKN.
Yeah, that one. And I'm just keeping an eye on all the ones we were talking about this morning.
Yeah, makes sense. SSKN back down at this 200 EMA on the 5, down there at 223. Wells Fargo and Blue Sky. Yeah, I'm sorry. We had kind of a lot yesterday on Happy Hour. This is a good mention, though, here, Bigabees. Financials looking pretty good, at least Wells Fargo here, as we got new all-time highs.
Izzy pointing out Rich Tech Robotics. This had a drop out of the gate here, found its footing at around 509. It's turned around, recaptured VWAP, and pretty much all the EMAs now. So we're back up towards this area around 560. Got to get through there where we went sideways in the pre-market. There's a lot of people still hanging out there. We'll probably like to be out of their position. So just something to keep in mind. We might get some resistance at this 560 area. I can already see that there's a lot of sellers piled up from 560 to 575.
Interesting move here. S&P is higher. NASDAQ is trying to bounce. Dow is screaming higher here. I want to check the IWM and see what we're doing here. IWM up by about 1%. This actually looks very much like the Dow. Wonder if there were comments here from one of our Fed speakers today.
We get Powell today, don't we?
Yeah, we do. 12:30 Eastern, and we're playing it on this stream. We got a loaded schedule here today. We've got Anne-Marie, then we've got Paul Meeks, then we've got Powell. So a lot of that stuff. Okay, we did have a data print here. S&P Global Manufacturing PMI for September was 52. That was versus the 52.2 estimate. And the S&P Global Services PMI for September, 53.9. That was versus the 54% estimate.
IBG.
What?
IBG is open.
Okay.
Went a little bit higher, but it's trying to hold the VWAP. We'll see if
Fed Bowman sees 3 cuts total for 2025. Easier to support the labor market with cuts now than to fix it after it's broken. Now, this is the opposite of what Musalem was saying yesterday. So I guess given this, perhaps that's why you're seeing Rocket and housing react, and then maybe some of these small caps reacting the way that they are.
Maybe. Jay Rice wants you to read his comments on why banks and the Dow are up.
I got to find them. I don't remember where he put those. Here we go. JPM and Goldman Sachs banks are very strong. IWM is loaded with the small cap banks. No wonder he wanted me to read that. Really kind of filling in the holes there. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, and what is that that ETF for the small regionals? It's on the tip of my brain.
DPST is the levered one. That's the one that we were trading around the actual Fed decision. This is the direction
KRE.
daily regional banks. KRE is the unlevered one, I believe.
Right. That's just the regular one. That's what I was thinking of.
Yep, you got it.
So this one's still looking like it's trying to get back over 67. That's what it looks like to me. We've got another halt with IBG. It went all the way up to 130, came back in beneath VWAP, halted now. IPD.
Better is resumed, BETR. This is now resumed here at 68.
Yeah, that's trying to recapture VWAP. It was as evidenced by the last candle.
Sava popping off of the lows. Cassava Sciences shares are trading higher after the company in a Form 4 filing disclosed that CEO Richard Berry bought 238,000 shares at an average price of $225.
Let's see here. Pretty muted day. SLE making new session highs right now, looking for 10.
There we go. We did get 10. So that move finally materialized there on SLE.
Might halt.
Yep, 10.01 looks like the halt price here.
SSKN still curling back up. It's recovering some of these EMAs. It recovered VWAP, recovered the 200 EMA, past the 9 now, looking for the 15 and the 65, all on the 5-minute here.
Amazon still has not stopped its sell-off. All red candles from the open. 221 now, you're low. SLE did not hold that halt, looks like. Sorry for the early call on that.
Well, it certainly was trying to, but...
yeah, that's what I get for not pulling it up in my broker, though.
This thing is just kind of whipping around right now.
Looks like basically it ran up to that VWAP, doesn't have the strength to hold above yet.
And plug backing off after it hit 316. Might be setting up to go higher here, though.
Ondis at 760. That was your initial high out of the open. There was some size there, and they hit it. We'll see if they've got the strength to get through it. Astus getting mentioned here by Webcoin. That's ticker ASTS. This now 52. Talked about Rocket Lab being up 100% year to date. Astus here, pretty nice move as well.
Captured it. Man, this thing looks like it looked like it was going to go lower, but caught support from the high from March earlier this year. Reversed, recaptured the 20, and then just yesterday we closed above the 50-day SMA. We're higher now, but a little sneaking suspicion that 54 is going to be a resistance area. That's been the area where it's been having trouble closing over. We only have 6 closes over 54, I believe, since July. There might be one in there that I'm missing, but since July, it just has not been able to get back above that level. And BX above VWAP now. So very, very spready, though.
Ondis did take out that 760 high by 1 cent and then pulled back a little. See if that's got more in it here today.
Is fold at the bottom? Maybe. It's certainly looked like it's trying to turn around here, but I'm not going to say that it is until we start recapturing some levels. Just because it goes sideways doesn't mean that it couldn't just fall, just drop out all of a sudden as the EMAs and the VWAP are approaching the price. We want the price.
Kind of brutal trading action here today on this.
It is. It really is. It's not just this one. It's like across the board here. Seems like a lot of these movers, even though we had 200% plus movers today, not really sticking around. But we'll see if fold is trying to reverse. I think we want to see a recapture of the VWAP. That would give me a lot more confidence that we're on our way back up. SLE new session highs 1051.
Yeah, that's still continuing to push, although it looks like it's struggling to really kind of get going and move above that VWAP. That would put maybe 14 in play.
I like 1151 next as resistance.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens up at 1150, 1151. That's been a resistance area. It was resistance back on earlier this morning. Yesterday in the after hours. Was that in this morning in the pre-market. We only had that one impulse move out of the opening gate for pre-market that took it all the way up to 1397, and we haven't been back there since. Silo is trying to recapture a dollar.
Ed here is asking if 220 is good support for Amazon. Here's a look at the chart. It does look like this 220 was support recently, really at the end of August 21st. Actually, it looks like we kind of tested that on September 2nd. We go back, this 220 level was definitely a key level here as we tried to come back to the all-time highs. The one thing I'll note here, Ed, we do have that 100-day down at 218.51. So I think it's possible that 220 support gets overshot on the down test here, but ends up holding. Just know where you are. Also worth noting here, just about 215 is where your 200-day is. I would definitely think Amazon draws buyers in at 215.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Jay's comment here sure looks like another growth to valuation rotation day today. And I got to say, I think Jay is spot on there by seeing the IWM and the Dow at the highs here. NVIDIA down 2.3%. I think Jay has pegged this one absolutely correct. Bharat looks like you're trading Palantir short. Palantir up near a double top here. Bharat, I like that.
Not a whole lot of really strong movers this morning. Silo right back up to VWAP, though. This might actually be able to recapture it. It's looking like there's some momentum to the upside happening with this one, but we need more volume. Super League Gaming still running into some trouble there with getting to 1150.
And careful, it's Super League Enterprise now.
BBA high, by the way. This thing is having a great morning. We're over 8.
I think Izzy was on that one earlier. Nice little impulse move, pullback, and then expanding volume to new highs. You're not kidding. This was a good one.
And Better Homes, that's starting to come down to the pre-market lows following the impulse move. Actually, I'm sorry. No, we are coming down to the pre-market lows. Looks like 60 going to be the. Seems like that's the line in the sand for now. If you lose that, we're going to probably have a rough time here with BETR. We'll see what happens there.
Lion here saying IREN looks like it has more upside coming. That's ticker IREN. It's already pretty extended here.
The 5-minute chart doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't. In fact, it looks like it's running into resistance at the VWAP and rolling back over.
If it can recapture VWAP and get through this sideways consolidation from the pre-market, I'll think otherwise. But yeah, right now, I think that's a big resistance area where the VWAP is.
Looking at CNBC here, it looks like we are moments away from President Trump addressing the United Nations General Assembly. I'm unsure if we're going to see anything stock related out of there, but it's always a chance. So I'll keep you posted on that.
SSKN still trying to recover here, making its way towards the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. That'll be at 275. FTEL halted to the downside.
Yeah, that thing's been really weak.
What was the news on this? I don't remember.
You want me to grab it?
No, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Secured up to $100 million facility to launch its Solana-based digital asset treasury in Australia. That's the Australia one. I thought Solana was supposed to be good, though. I don't know enough about these cryptos to know which one is great or not. I just know that Bitcoin's the king. That's all I know.
SLE here that's getting called by Tuna here. The one thing I would like to see is this volume candle expand over the last. I think giddy up, we probably go higher here. The only target I have from today is $13.97. We talked about that basically being $14. That just comes from the pre-market high. No guarantee it gets there, but that's one of the spots.
Yep. Looks like SLNH is, man, the volume in these things is awful. It looks like it's trying to turn around, but just like I said, the volume in these things just does not look great.
Mark is asking, pretty interesting news here on IONQ. IONQ shares are trading higher after the company announced it demonstrated the frequency conversion of photons from visible wavelengths used to interface with trapped barium ions into telecom wavelengths on a prototype system. So I'd have to read some more about that. I'm not actually sure what that means here. I'll say the trading action here in Ionic, not great. Not great. This actually looks like we got a topping candle here on the daily. We talked with David Prince earlier about some of the quantum names. He did not sound thrilled on them. Quantum maybe had its near-term run here.
Yeah, anybody that's really well versed in quantum, let me know how big of a deal this science experiment is that they just announced, because I don't know how this translates into money for us. You know, I don't know how good this news is or not. Let me know.
Smoke Tuna here saying SLE will pull back and it's very spready. It's actually tightened up a little bit recently, Tuna, but I agree. This thing was really spready earlier. It can very easily return to that. It is struggling to get over the near-term high that it just put in, and I would imagine if it cannot get over this, you're probably going to get the pullback that you were just mentioning.
Yeah.
13, I'm gonna grab some water and blow my nose. BRB, 1 second.
Sounds good. So while he does that, let's look around here and look at all these names that are just continuing to go lower. That seems like that's the theme for today. Is just let's go lower and rotate. What SLE could go, be careful with the spread. Yeah, see, I think that 1150 is going to kind of be the near-term resistance for SLE, just based on this pre-market price action where after we got that move that took us up to 1397, it couldn't get back above VWAP. We are above VWAP, and we were getting rejected at that 1150 earlier, both before and after the 1397 move. So it's kind of why I have my thoughts pegged on that particular level. We'll see what we get here. It's trying to push up 1150. That's the spot, I think. All right. BETR, this thing is now trading beneath the 65 EMA. That looks like it's going to go lower. There's like no volume in this right now at the moment. SSKN testing the 65 EMA. And it looks like GLTO is also trying to turn around, but it's got to capture a lot of these EMAs, including the 65. Here we go with SLE. That's moving. That just hit 11. Backing off of that. Looks like DBGI still needs some more volume, but it's trying to turn around. I just don't know about a lot of these. They just don't have the volume, it seems. Fold looked like it was trying to turn around there, but that came right back in. Rich Tech Robotics, that's trying to get support from its 200 EMA. IREN might be facing this rejection here near VWAP. Let's see if it can get through it or not. SSKN, says Brent. What's going on with SSKN right now? Still at the 65 EMA. Looks like SLNH is also still trying to turn around. There is just not a lot that's happening right now with these.
Okay, sorry about that. No, there isn't. There isn't. SLE just busted there. That's about all we got going.
SLE conditionally accepted. You're saying the 200 moving average the daily? Let me look at that.
Good morning, Amanda. Great to see you. Are you in the shy now? Are you in the shy?
Okay.
And, you know, just kind of looking at that SLE there, basically kind of pushed through, flirted, and back tested the VWAP. My VWAP's actually a little bit lower on the broker, and now is going here. So to me, it sure looks like the next spot is going to be right around this 1140 area, and then maybe 14.
I still have 1150. We almost hit that too. 1150. That's because that was the area aside from that move that took us up to 1397. 1150 is the area where the price has been rejected in the pre-market and the after hours yesterday. So we'll see if we get through that. And the next level that I have above 1150 is going to be 1250.
Okay. Just left the Shy. Damn, missed you, Amanda. Are you taking the Wolverine line back to Michigan? I've taken that train a few times, actually. IBG, this now new intraday lows as that rolls over. President Trump, by the way, is giving his address. Amazon. So we talked about Amazon earlier. So far, Ed, I don't know. Let me know if you ended up taking that. No position for me on Amazon. Looks like it held 221.25. Trying to bounce right now. We'll see how much juice we get off that bounce.
Speaking of bounces, Plug is trying to bounce off the 65 EMA again. The last time that it traded beneath the 65 EMA in this regular session, it recaptured it in the same candle, and then we went on to print 316. Don't know if we're going to get that same kind of price action, but we are down here at the same 65 EMA where it got support. So
yeah, I guess you can watch maybe a move back through the VWAP since we're only 2 cents away from that. But again, I would just kind of reiterate on Plug, be careful with this one. We've seen kind of less than ideal results from Plug.
That's kind of been
the Ionic 6 back to Michigan. Okay, well,
that's kind of been the state of things this morning with a lot of these names. The volume has gone away really fast in these names. SSKN still hasn't broken down yet. It did get rejected by the 65 EMA, but it's still hanging above the VWAP. So it's possibly a chance that this gets back above the 65 EMA if the volume comes in. We need to see the volume expansion right now or pretty soon in order for it to go up.
Okay, and SLE, this one, pretty interesting here. This did pull back off that recent high. It's trying to bounce here, but gosh, I'd really like that to be at VWAP. Looks like it actually already tested VWAP there, 1007 on that pullback. We'll see here, SLE.
GoPro has got a 52-week high, says Matthew Caddy. And we're also seeing some movement with SoundHound, up 7% right now. This is still kind of curling up towards the highs that it made in December, just slowly making its way up there. We might end up getting either a couplet handle or a scalp out of this price action eventually. It's just we need to see this go back up towards 24.
Lion, take care of yourself. We'll see you tomorrow, boss.
Take care, Lion. Silo 209 say AMA is at 97 cents, struggling here. Oh, okay. Try to catch SLE load at 990. That's the load zone for SLE. 990.
What did he say? Load zone 990. Okay, yeah. We'll see if we get there on SLE. We're at 1020 right now. Really not that far from that. And you know what, Tuna? That would also take us to the VWAP. So that would actually be pretty good if we end up getting that. Yeah, Ed says, I did not. Regarding Amazon, trying to develop discipline and being more patient. I'm just looking at the curl here. Did not even quite get to 221, but curled pretty quickly on that. The only thing I could say about, discipline is I would just say if you're going to take a trade like that, I would just have your stop be against the day lows there. That way, if it rolls over and kind of head fakes you, you're really basically out flat at that point, or, just a couple of pennies beneath where you bought it.
SSKN is still getting a little bit of volume. It's trying to get over at 65 EMA, but it's still moving pretty slowly. IPDN trying to move away from its 65 EMA. It's got a lot of EMAs to recapture here still, the 9, 15, and 65 on its way up to VWAP where it was rejected earlier this morning. SLNH is also trying to turn around here. It also has to recapture a lot of these EMAs, including the VWAP. It's coming up to VWAP right now, at least mine. I have that at 258.
Sorry, SLE right at its VWAP right here. We talked about 990 being a load zone here. It's back down to its VWAP. We'll see if this area holds.
Plug Power losing the 65 EMA.
Ondas at the day highs, back on. Take care of yourself, Brent. Ed's waiting for 178 on NVIDIA. Okay, so it looks like you're going to buy that NVIDIA dip if we end up getting it.
We have IRN coming up to some resistance at 34. It's recaptured the VWAP, but we're right in the middle of the sideways consolidation from the pre-market. So this is an area where it's going to have to break through, or we could get rejected here and lose VWAP and a lot of these other EMAs.
Okay. C Boogie asking me to take a look at RCAT. That's that drone stock that recently had an offering. How we doing here? Wow, plus 9%. Pretty good. Looks like several of the drone names pretty good. This chart looks similar to Ondas. Not exactly the same, but similar. RCAT now higher here.
Smoke Tuna saying NUAI will go.
NUAI. Okay, that's a penny stock still, but approaching dollar territory.
So go over $1 then?
Trout Bum was asking about this. Yeah, it looks like we actually just broke that pre-market high area. $1 next, $1.10 after that, I would say.
Some of these are trying to turn.
Looks like we have a new poll up here as well of the two Eric Jackson picks, open and better. If you had to choose to invest $1K for the next 5 years, what would it be? Big pull here now in SLE. This actually pulled beneath the load zone.
I don't know how we're going to end up closing today, but we're just getting a mention with Rigetti. Zach was mentioning that it got up to 30. This candle right now looks like it could be a topping out. Oh, we still have a whole day left to trade, so don't want to say that this is reversing here or not.
Sorry to interrupt, but the nasty pull in SLE is going to turn into a downside halt at 917. God, I hope you guys are okay on that one. Yeah, Jay, what do you think about that? Sorry, first of all, 13. Sorry, did you have something you want to finish? I completely interrupted you there. Okay. Jay, here, this is interesting, right? Anyone hearing the Ponzi scheme on big tech AI spending? 10 big tech companies swapping $100 billion in investment around. It does seam like that. Which one?
NUAI. It's over $1 now.
Okay, so that did pop $1. Jay, I do kind of have that. I am a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, that's kind of, I was wondering myself yesterday. I was like, oh, NVIDIA's investing $100 billion in OpenAI, so why isn't Microsoft moving on that? Because they're kind of the big holder of AI, right? Of OpenAI, I mean. So my thought is like, so where's I know NVIDIA has a lot of money, but are they just going to throw cash at that? Are they going to finance it? It gives me a lot of questions. It opens up a lot of questions to this. So. I guess I'm kind of right there with him. Like, what is this, dealing around with the Mag 7s where they're just kind of passing their dollars around to each other? How does that help us? And what does that do for everybody else? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. And I think it's a fair question here. I covered the story this morning. And here are a couple of quotes from Sam Altman, okay? There are the 3 things that OpenAI has to do well. We have to do great AI research. We have to make these products people want to use, which right on the surface seems very vague. And we have to figure out how to do this unprecedented infrastructure challenge. I think that probably, talks about power and powering data centers and all of that stuff. He then says, you should expect a lot more from us in the coming months, and leaves it right there. So we'll see. We'll see. It does kind of seem like there's a lot of, doesn't have this fully figured out, a lot of chasing some of the moves higher here. We'll see if this ends up ending poorly or not. FTEL showing its first signs of a bounce. That's not anything I'm interested in. Blazed Rhino says it makes me feel broke. Facts, dude. Everyone talking about throwing around millions and billions of dollars, and I'm sitting over here like, what is going on? Where did I miss this? I'd like to throw around $1,000,000.
SSKN still trying to hammer that 65 EMA. Looks like BETR is trying to turn around as well.
NUAI is still popping on volume here. BETR is still several points beneath its VWAP.
Yep. And that's going to be the next resistance area.
Yeah, agreed.
And what was that one that we were looking at? That had the ugly knife? No, it's not it.
Yeah, it was. It was SLE. That's halted to the downside at 917.
Okay. I was going to say SSKN, but I was like, nope. So SLE, this halted right at 65 EMA. It wouldn't be surprising if this went down to 820 before it found support. BETR is still recovering though, as is SLNH. FTEL is trying as well. Some of these are starting to curl back up and recover, but not with the volume that's needed.
Here's BKKT. This is a good mention, Tuna. This now took out the pre-market highs from yesterday. Nice little continuation here on BKKT.
Parker, you took a position in URA.
Amanda said, I sold puts at the market open on Amazon. Are those STO? Did you sell to open that position or sell to close?
Parker, when? When did you get it? Because this thing's been on a rip. And Pete, that'd be great if Optimus V3 could replace, pretty much everybody in government.
You want to be governed by robots?
We already are, dude.
That's.
Do you have an answer for that?
I love both of you, but that's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. Amanda sold the 215 puts.
I'm having fun now.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Everyone should have fun. Just to be clear, everyone should have fun. SLE is open now. That actually looks like it's going to try and peak lower. We'll see if we get a bounce here. SLE, this just opened.
950 right now is the resistance area. It was resistance earlier this morning. That was one of the levels we needed to get back above. We ended up doing that as we recaptured VWAP. That needed to be support on that move down. We chewed through it. So I think it's resistance right now.
All right. So far we are trying here in SLE to bounce. We'll see if this rolls over and retakes the hit. No position yet. I do think this 766 could be on deck here if this rolls over some more. Looks like we're on the verge of losing 9. There it goes. 860 was the previous support level. Tuna, I think. I think that's what we looked at. Trying to bounce from 880 right here.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I feel that the same way. It's so close to a reality, like Elon Musk is Lawrence Robertson. The robots are Optimus, and Vicky is Grok AI. Right? That's where we're at right now. Benzinga is using AI, yes.
We have an AI tool.
Yeah. All right, looking at some of these names now that really aren't doing a whole lot. Looks like NUAI is trying to move up beyond 103, the high that we made earlier.
Tesla pounding lows here, and SLE, that bounce looking like it might be short-lived. We'll see if it's trying to figure out a spot here. 860, got it, Tuna. That's one of the things we're looking at there.
Yep. SLE is trying to reverse, but I have my concerns.
So do I. I don't necessarily need, if I'm going to day trade this, I don't necessarily need to nail the dead bottom. I just don't want to be head faked on what looks like a bounce only to turn over to a rollover. Is he taking a look at UNH? We end up closing that gap on UNH? Nope. Oh, we're marching back up, though.
Yeah, let's see. That gap doesn't close until about what, the 380? Yeah, 381. 381, that gap closes. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. 378.75.
Yep. See if we get that gap to close. Nice little charge here higher on UNH. Haven't seen any options for this one. At least not today. Rigetti puts here.
What's nice is that UNH did get a silver cross back earlier this month, and it's still holding above the 20-day SMA. So that's an encouraging sign. Now we just need to get past that high from mid-September. Redwire up 10% says Crocodile Dumb Me, and Fofo is popping. What's the pop?
Fofo, that seems like a new ticker. SLE, by the way, 850s now. That continues to go lower.
Hang Feng Technology Innovation that has been on the market for, looks like 2 weeks. I don't know.
Was this the Chinese spy that slept with the congressman?
I don't know.
No, it's not.
I don't know, man.
Just wondering.
Yeah, they just
what's it popping on?
I don't know, but they just recently IPO'd. Looks like today there was a Form 6, so the answer might be in there. Not just announces the pricing and closing of the IPO. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the 16th, not today. Wrong Tuesday.
No, I'm looking through this though to see if there's anything under here.
I don't see anything.
Started trading on the 12th under Fofo.
All right. Going back to some of these movers.
SLE looks like 850 test is coming. I don't think the bottom's been carved out in that yet.
Nope, might be closer to 750.
BZAI, not to be confused with Benzinga AI, but BZAI ticker here. Nice little staircase higher.
Did they have news? Looks like there's some filings here. Did they cancel a filing, an offering? Might be what's happening here. I'm not sure though.
SLE, I am not sure that the bottom is in there.
SSKN, that's moved beyond at 65 EMA. We're moving up beyond or up 2-3. So this one that was ugly in the pre-market, looking better in the regular session. Iron also getting some support from the VWAP.
I'm looking at maybe 810 as your next possible bounce area on SLE, and I don't know that I trust it at all. Just saying.
BZIA is due for a run. It did recapture, so we just moved above the 50-day SMA. We need to close above it now, but it's the first time we've been up there since we lost it earlier this month. So $4 looks like the next, like 410 looks like the next resistance area to me. And then we have the 200-day SMA.
Smoke Tuna mentioning that the volume on SLE, which does seem to be drying up, is moving to SSKN. See if we got a VWAP test here on SSKN.
Strataskin.
This was one of the movers from the list this morning.
Yeah, this is the one that was looking ugly in the pre-market and looking better now.
Yeah, big size there at 3. I think there was also some there at 304 that I just saw.
Because that's kind of the big resistance area from that double top that we had here in the pre-market.
I also have the VWAP at 307, so we seem to be at a pretty important area regardless. It looks like they might be walking that down too, that seller, down to 295 now.
I wouldn't be surprised if this got rejected up here. Now maybe there's some more people that come into this and try to push it up. It can totally happen, but this on the technical side, this is a big resistance area, and I would not be surprised if we got rejected here.
Up there's a little bit of a pullback here. We'll see if this holds 270. And there's your pull right to 270.
IPDM lost to 200 EMA on the 5 minute. That's not great. SLNH still beneath VWAP. FTEL going sideways. MBX looks like that's trying to reverse off of 19. Plug might be reversing as well, beneath all EMAs except the 200. Iron still looks like this is trying to push back above 43.25.
This SSKN so far has held the 65 EMA on the 5, that value down there at 270. Here we go. We're going to retest it to the downside. Let's see.
What's your VWAP at on that?
Broke beneath it. I've got my VWAP at 307 on SSKN.
That's funny. I got mine at 263, so we're coming down to my VWAP right now as support.
Interesting.
Brokers, what do they do?
This now, I've got to think 262, 260. If it holds there, maybe you get a bounce, but boy, oh boy, this thing has rolled over from that volume pop.
NU AI, this is approaching the pre-market high of 109. A lot of sellers in the way at 110. Big seller there, big seller at 120. Some sellers at 115 as well.
ON saying, how do I set 4 different EMAs on the chart like I have here? I'm assuming you're using Benzinga Pro. What you would do is you would click indicators, and then you can actually just type in moving average and then select moving average exponential. When you select it, it adds it to your list of indicators in the upper left corner. So you would add 4, and then you would mouse over the gear cog here, and this is where you set your different settings. So the length field is what you're talking about for the 20, 200, 65, whatever value it is that you want. But this is how you add them.
If you run into trouble with that, there's another one called moving average multiple.
That's right, where it plots 3 lines on there.
You can get up to 6 with moving average multiple.
I'm old-fashioned, I guess. I just add them one at a time, and then I can turn them off one at a time if necessary.
A new AI, new high. It just pushed through the pre-market high, 110. Now the new price. That's where the sellers were. So there's still big seller block there. Hasn't been able to chew through it quite yet, but I'm watching it right now.
I'm pro from Rip. Okay, awesome. I'll tell you what, I can't wait till we develop the new chart system and hit Rip's clouds. That's going to be so awesome. I wish I had a time frame I could give you on that.
All right. What else we got going on here?
This is from the United Nations speech. If Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, the U.S. is prepared to impose tariffs on Russia. So we'll see if that materializes and what kind of market reaction that elicits. Market here that the Dow and IWM have pulled back a little bit from the highs that it set out of the open, but the Dow still hanging on to green by about 0.5%.
It's the same process. You just go to your indicators. You hit the indicators button on the charts. Type in moving average, and you should see moving average multiple pop up. Should be the 4th one down, and then you just click the gear like Ryan was telling you, and you can set all the parameters to make it exponential and have the different values for those lines. So that's the way to do it.
SSKN looks like we're going to roll over here now. That doesn't have a whole lot of strength left to it. Neither does IBG for that matter. Smoke Tuna saying SLE is done. That also looks like this is, I still think this 767, I guess we'll see what happens there as the last line in the sand, but boy, oh boy, one move higher on volume, and that was about it.
My resistance area was good on SLE, though. That 1150 area, we didn't quite hit that. We got to 1143 before we turned around. That's That was the topping out for a lot of So we can even look at it at the 5-minute chart in the pre-market. That was the resistance. We opened today, ran after hours. We opened pre-market, ran up to 1397. Have not been back there since. Lost the VWAP. Could not get back above 1150. That was the same rejection area in the after hours as it was in this pre-market here. So certainly looked like that was going to be a spot where the price is going to have a hard time. NUAI broke through 110. Yeah, 115 new high. So that next area where the sellers were 115. I'm sure if it breaks through 115, they'll probably run into some problems at 120. Still can see that there are some sellers stacking up at 120 and 125. A lot of sellers at 130 as well. So every 5-10 cents, you just have a lot of people looking to exit this thing. SSKN, that does look like it's pretty much going to get the result I was anticipating with the double top here. We came right up to the underside of that double top formation, which tends to be a resistance area in these patterns, and we got rejected. So that the technical's behaving very well with that one.
Wall Street brunch time.
It's we're 5 minutes past that time. It's looking like if there was any volume in the market to begin with, it's also leaving as people go and talk about what they did and to all their buddies and what they plan to do when they get back. SLE still hasn't lost this 200 EMA on the 5 minute, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. It's not looking very strong. SQQQ, by the way, that's not having too bad of a day, and it looks like comparatively to the price action from yesterday, we might be turning around. We went sideways all through the after hours and the pre-market, and we've been hitting some resistance areas from yesterday. So right now we have a lot of consolidation from yesterday about the 1545 area. If this market continues to sell off, I think we want to see the price get through that area.
You getting mentioned here, G-Man, a lot of these uranium names. Let me ask, what is you guys' favorite uranium name? Is it one of the ETFs? Is it UUUU? Is it, another stock? Is it the LEU stock? What is your favorite uranium play and why?
I mean, I think you convinced me with LEU. If that's where the government money's going,
yeah,
I don't see a better reason to be in that one.
How are we doing on that today, by the way? Oh, it 300 like we said it was going to? Sweet. 310 here now. This actually looks like this might go higher.
This should pull back and test that trend line. I think it really needs to. I really think it needs to. That would be a good sign of this being able to go higher. We drew that trend line that starts back from 2021. We just broke out of it. Parker likes EARN, U4, and UEC. And James wants to look at Hood and give a chance. I'll take a look.
Okay.
This the concern I have about this one is that it's gotten pretty extended and it's been trading into a rising wedge. I feel like this one's going to come back in. How far away are we from these moving averages? 1 second. And I guess that's not too far away. It just looks like Hood is just kind of getting a little stretched right now. I feel like this is going to come back in. I just couldn't tell you when. Maybe once we hit 130, maybe. The RSI isn't particularly too extended. We could still go higher, but I really feel like this is going to start to get tired up here and come back in. So if that happens, watch for the 20 and the 50-day SMAs to provide support.
Okay, good stuff there. Smoke Tuna says, Ryan, take a look at ALLR. It might be setting up for its next leg up here. Let's take a look at ALLR. Let me reset this chart. There we go.
How much is this traded in volume today?
Nothing. It looks like it's super low volume here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this thing doesn't look like it barely gets noticed. Well, okay, no, I take that back.
It has to have some type of catalyst. We see this in the pre-market sometimes on this stock.
Okay, so this just secured a $2.5 million private placement yesterday. Did we get movement yesterday? Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, we did.
We did? I mean,
right out of the open. It basically took us to a previous support area and stopped us there, and we rolled from it.
Okay, that was a recapture of the 20-day estimate. Okay, I just had to really zoom into this.
Yeah.
Now, what was the news that happened on the 26th of August? Because that's the big volume day.
Yeah, and on here, this is definitely an inside candle. So really what you'd be waiting for here is a break of yesterday's intraday high, or I guess a breakdown at 150.
Oh, this one got fast track designation on August 26th. That's why it moved. Okay. What's your cash like?
NBIS looking like it might be setting up to take out 110 or at least test it.
Oh, they can burn through. They've got a lot of cash compared to their burn rate. So this company seems to be okay. High short interest as well. 21.5%, but only one day to cover. Did this go through some kind of reverse split recently? It did not. Last one was last year in September. Yeah, I mean, the only thing this has going against it right now for ALLR is there's no volume.
Yep. I think Tuna's trying to find an early setup there, which I can appreciate. Looking for something before it moves. Don't want to chase any of these movers here. Things definitely seem like they've settled down a little bit. And I agree with the comment here. Perhaps we're waiting for Powell's speech. Again, that's 12:30 Eastern, and it will be on this stream. That's going to be after Paul Meeks. That
might be the case. I pretty much agree with that. That this market's kind of just waiting for something to happen, and if we have news of that coming up, it's probably waiting for that. I would agree with that. So, where are we at with the market? Because maybe the market does the opposite. I don't know.
Market just kind of hanging around here.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Just a bunch of sideways price action since we closed yesterday. Just absolutely nothing here today. Hollow had news. I didn't catch the news when we were getting asked about it earlier, but this had a quantum breakthrough. The last time they had some kind of a breakthrough, remember when it was like the whole spin breakthrough thing? I don't remember how that worked or whatever, but it moved on that news, and it absolutely came right back in after that.
Yeah, I remember when this thing first switched over to being a, quote, quantum company. Actually, I wonder on the short interest, did we tick up from that? Let's see. The most recent read, and actually, I think we're due tomorrow for a fresh read on this. This will be interesting. Most recent read, 7.73% of the float shorted there, and days to cover there on 1. This is actually a very, very slight tick up. This is actually lower. Hollow's actually lower from where it was earlier this year in May. We've actually cut that short interest by more than half.
It's been bottoming since Trump went into office. June has pretty much been the lowest point. It's been sideways for the majority of the year now. It's got to get back above 8. I think that's when you'll start to see it trade better, once it recovers 8.
Okay.
And some of these names trying to turn around. We'll see how much follow through they have. SLE not breaking down, still above its 200 EMA.
TSM traded up out of the open, basically came right back in. It'll be interesting to see if TSM loses 280. That actually might be a trade on a possible move back down towards that 265. I don't know if we're going to get that, but that'd be something I'd watch there, especially if the NASDAQ pulls a little bit later today.
TSM, this is something to keep an eye on, because we do have news about one of the worst on record typhoons heading, even multiple typhoons heading in that area. That could disrupt shipping, particularly that out of Hong Kong and some of the other Chinese ports, like most of the major ports in the world. So that could have some market implications as well. But with TSM, this formation that we're getting here, where we're getting a bit of a doji, a gap up into a doji. If this doji holds, and then tomorrow we end up gapping down, that's going to be a bearish topping pattern, and we're going to want to be very, very careful with TSM going forward with the remainder of the week. We also have RSI over 77 now. Seems to me like TSM could be due for a reversal, especially based on how this these past few days been, the past couple of days been trading. Keep an open mind for downside on TSM. It looks like it's topping out.
I'll tell you what, as far as if there is more downside here, maybe a gap fill to the downside would be a pretty quick trade.
I'm being asked about Joby, and then G-Man. I'll look at Meta in a second, because I mentioned Meta earlier because it was the only other one aside from Amazon that was having a really bad day in the Mag 7s. What's up?
Did anyone else lose 13 there? I got his video frozen.
No.
Yeah, no, you're still there, but you're totally choppy and roboticized.
I you said I saw that my interest, but so let me look here. This kind of has a setup,
and he's back.
It looks like it could break out. Oh, I just came back.
Well, no, yes, your video is unfrozen, and I can actually understand you. You sounded like a T1000 having a short circuit issue.
Oh, I assure you, I'm not.
But you were going to look at Joby. No, it's okay. We back here. You were going to look at Joby.
Yeah. So Joby, this looks like it's trying to break out over the 1666 high that it put in on Friday. We did back test the 50-day SMA yesterday and today, and this is a big resistance area. Just look at a daily chart. You can see how this is a support turn resistance area that we're at right now. See the topping out pattern, the kind of a head and shoulders that we had in Joby from July to August, the middle of August. The neckline is about where we're at right now. You got to look at the daily chart though. Yeah. So just draw the neckline. You see that head and shoulders pattern there?
Absolutely.
We're trying to get back above that right now.
Absolutely.
So this could either be an area of rejection, since this is now a support turn resistance area, or we're going to just break through this and we're back to trying to print over 18. So this is a very important area for Joby. I don't know if we're going to get that breakout or not, but we're right there if we are. I just became 31, 13 to 31.
Daniel here mentioning SLE. This is maybe bottomed here. We have bottomed here a few times. Maybe this turns around on SLE. I would still be very careful with this one though. It is curling a little bit.
And then
take care of yourself, Judge.
Take care, Judge. And then we were getting asked about if Meta was going down on that super PAC news, and I don't see anything else that would have taken it down like it did. I'm thinking that might be the situation. And the news we're talking about is an Axios exclusive called Meta launches super PAC to fight AI regulation. So it went down to like what did it go down to? Like,
which one? Which ticker?
This is Meta.
Oh, Meta. Sorry, let me bring it back up here.
It went down to, I think it was like 750. Let me double check here where it went to. 757. Tested the no, I'm sorry, 759. It went close to the 20-day SMA. So that's providing support at the moment, but a lot of sideways price action here with Meta ever since we gapped up in July. We didn't really fill that gap either. Came close, but haven't filled that gap. What do you think about this news, Ryan, about a super PAC designed to fight AI regulation? Do we just want to have unregulated AI? Does Mark Zuckerberg want Terminator to come?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. What are you actually going to do regulating it? What does that actually mean too? Like, what's the end goal of that? Yes, I don't want T1000s running around murking us all.
I guess, kind of my thought is, well, are we the only ones that are going to be doing it? what other countries are going to be that are in the AI race are going to be putting, roadblocks in front of progress like we're talking about doing here. And I think that's what the super PAC is designed to do.
Okay.
To just make sure those roadblocks that would, slow the AI growth in the U.S. doesn't end up happening. So I'm kind of just like speaking.
Yeah, no, I get it.
With a lot of speculation here, but that's kind of where my thought is on that super PAC. They're trying to prevent the growth from slowing down. That's kind of where my thought is on that.
Gotcha.
Regulating AI, that's cute.
I don't think we should do anything that might jeopardize us losing that race, if that's an answer. I mean, because to me, I think that's the ultimate fail if you do that.
Well, and then let me ask you this. How much success have we had in regulating the internet?
Not a lot.
Okay, well, let's try to tackle that monster first.
Okay, good. It's actually not a bad point there. Market sniper, regulating AI, that's cute.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the point I was getting at with regulating the internet, because what are we talking about regulating AI? We can't even regulate the internet that we've had for over
no, that's a good point.
Years.
A fair point, 13.
So absolutely right there with you, Market Sniper. Absolutely adorable. Lots of sideways price action. We are absolutely waiting for Powell to say something.
Yeah, no question. We're waiting for Powell. We've got Anne-Marie coming up in 10 minutes. We got Paul Meeks before Powell, but we are going to be doing Powell here as well.
Yeah, Roadhog. That's another hilarious thing. The biggest polluters in the world are trying to be champions for clean energy, and it's so stupid to me. You got China saying, "Oh, hey, we're making these strides in solar." Meanwhile, they're dumping more untreated wastewater from their nuclear facilities than Fukushima did during its crisis. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, SKSN. Let's see. SLE. This might be curling back now. Are we getting something here with SLE?
Yeah, absolutely, Tara. It would throw us behind the rest of countries. Absolutely. And I think that's the reason for the super PAC now. Why is Meta trading down on it? Super PACs can be pricey, and I don't know how much support they're going to get. Maybe Meta has to come with their own money for that. I guess that could be the thought, but seeing as how we've recovered everything that it gave up, might be just kind of shining that on.
All right.
Different stream.
What's that?
Zach is asking if
producer, let me know. Do people have to go anywhere? Are we going from this stream to Anne-Marie to Paul to Powell? Help me out with that, producer. He should be around. I'll get you an answer on that for sure, Zach.
Excellent.
And SLE, I mean, look, I would just be careful with this one if you trade it. I'm probably going to pass on this. It is curling here, though. It did hold that at least so far.
950, got to get back above that, and I have concerns.
This is our concern, dude.
Probably one of the most deadpan greatest lines.
I mean, look, dude, Philip Seymour Hoffman is just something else. He is something else. And that character, Brandt, is just, it literally makes that movie funnier. So.
Supri would like us to look at ABAT.
That was that battery play. That actually worked one of the days that we traded that. I think one of the days that it had news or something like that.
American Battery Technology Company. We've it moved in July, so it could have been then. It also moved in December. I don't think we traded it then, but every time it seems to come up to this consolidation area from December of 2023, and that's kind of where it's been rejected at today. So if you look at a daily chart, you go back to December of 2023. There's like this consolidation that goes on from for almost an entire quarter before the price finally fell out of that support area at about 4 and went lower. So $4, big resistance area for ABAT historically.
SLE taking 9. So maybe this bounce is continuing here. I would just say, I don't know if any of you folks traded this one. If you did, I just wouldn't let this one go red at you or go red on you. I beg your pardon. We did just take the 9 EMA. I've got VWAP here in TradingView at 989. So maybe that's another upside target if this continues. Looks like they did bring in a bid above 9 here, but that could get flattened.
Rigetti trying to push back up over, what is this, 31, 30, 50. It came up to a resistance area earlier today after it lost that 31.37 print. Been having a hard time getting back above 30.50. So looking like it's trying to do that right now.
SLE continuing. Jay says, you do Lebowski lines well. It makes my day. Well, that's just like your opinion, man. But we'll keep doing them because the Big Lebowski is awesome. Okay, SLE taking off. I'm sorry. I was saying be careful on this. This was a great curl. You guys looks like several of you folks were all over this. Actually getting some movement here. Judging by what we've seen with some of these pulls, I think scaling out on the way up, probably the way to go here. We are not, 60 cents here from VWAP? Not bad if you hit SLE.
590. I still think 590 is a big resistance level. It's right beneath right beneath VWAP too.
Yeah, and here with SLE, the volume looks a little bit lower here. Smoke Tuna saying SLE does not have much gas. I think it needs some time to sleep after this pop. This is kind of what I mean about don't be afraid to take gains if you get it on this curl. Did a really good job identifying the entry there on the curl. I know a lot of people were watching this one from earlier. I just don't know how high we're going to go. I don't know what kind of target we have above this.
Rigetti still pushing higher, looking for 31.
Okay, and I got it from the producer. Producer's working overtime today. Y'all folks don't need to do anything. Anne-Marie is going to be on this stream with us. When we end this stream, we're going to send you to another stream for Paul Meeks. And when Paul Meeks ends, we're going to send you to another stream for Powell. So if you stay right here, our production team will get you to the Powell speech when that takes off. Thank you, producer. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Did I say 590? I meant 950.
I think you did.
Oh,
I think you did.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 950. I've said it multiple times before. I may have just messed it up that one time, but yeah.
It's okay. We speak trader here, so we can go through that. Someone was asking about Lyft earlier. I jokingly said that I was just a little bit late on this trade. I actually still think Lyft might make a takeover target. As crazy as that might sound, Uber's still eating their lunch. Looking at this chart, I guess you could make a case that maybe this rolls higher. Don't love the wicks though, and realistically, here, let me see what I can get here.
Who does not want this thing to gap fill? Because that's my question right now. We've come right up to this gap fill area back from May of 2022, and there's somebody there saying no, we don't want this gap getting filled. You got to look at it.
I'm trying, dude. Okay. I'm trying. My chart's lagging here a little bit. There you go. Here's the gap that you're talking about.
Yeah, you got a lot of lines in there, but if you zoom in, you can see that gap starts. Let me see here. That gap goes from let's see, that it fills actually at 30.76, and it looks like we are going to start to see it fill once we get beyond 22.82.
Okay. Roadhog here saying Lyft will drop. So looks like you're not even looking for that possible gap fill move here.
Well, I mean, it's like I was saying, that it just continues to get rejected. It's been rejected for 4 or 5 days now. This area, ever since we gapped up on I don't know what the news was on September 17th or 16th, but we've been holding that at 22 level. But not able to go much higher. So, and we're getting pretty extended on the RSI. I think I agree that this is going to come back in. 76 RSI, not able to get back into that gap fill area. I feel like this is going to come back, and I think that's correct.
You know, it might just kind of take a break, if you will. Take a nap. Is that what the term Tuna used earlier? It might take a nap before it finally makes a run at filling that gap. By the way, sound here pulling back from the highs that it made recently here.
Did you end up? I know I asked you about a potential options play. I think it was DraftKings. Did that end up trading lower, or did you end up?
I didn't take it. I didn't take it on DraftKings. This looks to me like it's pretty much in the same area than when we looked at it last time, right? Wasn't this after this drop down here? Wasn't it Friday of last week? I can't remember exactly what day it was, but
I will tell you the exact date, and then we'll move over because I know I have to split.
Yeah. Actually, it does look like this 42.5 was a double bottom there.
I know it was last week.
Yeah. Can't remember the day though.
No, I'm trying to scroll back because I know I asked you about it. It was Thursday after this morning. DraftKings could be a great put options trade. That's what I mentioned to you.
Yeah. Yes. So it is a little bit lower. It looks like it actually bounced a little bit as lower. All right. Really, as always, we can come here. Let me see if I can figure out the controls.
It's getting a little robotic for me. It might be my end.
Whoa. Something is weird here. It might be my internet connection too. All right, 13 closing words for the group.
Oh, well, if you can still hear me, folks.
I can.
Okay, another wonderful day here with y'all. We didn't get as many movers to move the way we wanted to, but you know what? Tomorrow is another day. We will find some more movers, and we will find some that are giving us some really good trades. We'll trade them. We'll make some money. It'll be a good time. Enjoy Anne-Marie. She's coming up next. I'll see you folks tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, sounds good, 13. Good work as always. 13's departure leaves room for the one and only Anne-Marie Baiynd. Trying to add it here. There we go. Anne-Marie, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Can hear you just fine. Can see the screen just fine. This is awesome. Can we? What size are we at here?
I have it on a pretty big one, but I can always move it bigger.
Okay, I mean, I can always see the chart. Okay, it's when we get to the actual options screen that gets a little rough there, but we'll try. That should be good. All right, Anne-Marie, do you have anything on deck
I have
today?
a slurry.
Let's go. Let's go.
Slurry. So I was listening to 13, and I am of the mind that he's correct on Taiwan Semiconductor having a little bit of a pullback and then another run forward as it moves into the next space. And so here's what we've got for Taiwan Semiconductor. My thought is the first group, I have an October 260, 250, 240 put butterfly for 74 cents with a potential upside of $1,000. Vol is suggesting that, let's see what the move is for October. Vol is suggesting $26 on either side. So if we come down into that $26, it'll bring us at about, $255 or so for $1,000 upside potential. If it grinds the gears up and holds at 250, it'll be a very beautiful 12x for the trader. So I really like that one. And then after that's done, we can look at the upside cycle, and they're calling for $40 of motion. I'm not really sure we'll get 40, but if we take it and it continues to the upside, there's a $2,000 upside for a $200 investment. And that to me looks pretty nice. You could get it all the way to 300. This is a 1 by 3 by 2. And so what that does is give us, let's say it only moves $10, right? So it's limited upside. These short calls are going to keep the debit from eroding very quickly. But if we move forward all the way outside, our net exposure is still just 240 something bucks. We might get it a little cheaper if that put fade works. And I think there's room for that for a couple of reasons. One, my handy dandy oscillator that I built with ChatGPT just marked a daily high for the entire year. And so it's up near 99% and some change. So it's really big. It's really, really high up there. So it should have some sort of reflexive pattern that you could potentially trade it down into earnings. If you want to take both sides of the trade, you absolutely can,
Okay.
right? Your total outlay is going to be about $330 or so. And what you'll be able to do is, because they have different lengths of time associated with them, you'll be able to pull the put off for some profit. The short 300s will keep that debit from eroding very quickly. And then once it turns up, maybe it does drop to 260, and then it runs that 40 points. It's going to put you right back at 300. I really like that trade a lot.
Okay.
Pretty well designed. Okay, the next one I have on the list is Oracle.
Perfect.
We've been looking
topical.
at that. Yeah. We've had a bit of a fading pattern today. And we've noticed that the upward pressure over the last couple of days, it's not been undersized, but it also has not been dramatic. So there really is a space for this to pull back, but it's got seasonality on its side. And so my thought is, let's just anticipate that it might wiggle around, but that it's going to trend higher. And if we go into November, it's got $53 attached to it there in the move. I think that vol is very high for this particular space. So a couple of ways. We could go conservative and we could say, I'll do the 310, 320, 330. It's only 65 cents for the continuation move to the north. If we say, hey, what if this thing actually moves? It's 50 points. We could start at 10 points ahead. We could go to 340 and then 350. Oops, excuse me. That's not 350. I wanted to go to 360. And it's a little bit more expensive at 205. I did not know what to think about this particular kind of spread action that we had going on here. I thought it was very interesting that these forward higher prices were carrying so much more premium than the others were. And it could be because they're thinking about something really outsized. And if you're that person, you might just go, hey, listen, I'm going to just do the 350, 360 put spread. It's $200 of exposure.
Call spread or put spread?
Call spread.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, the call spread will give you, 350, 360, $10. So you got about $7.75. And if you say, hey, I wouldn't mind having somebody else pay this, why not just sell the 270, 280 calls and, puts and get a credit there. And that's going to give me the opportunity to have a free trade in terms of actually using premium. And if the price action does not go in that range, but it holds the put floor, you're still green. And so in this kind of market, I like the idea of, okay, let's bet like it's moving the way it looks like it's going to move. But if it doesn't, let's make some money anyway.
I like the sound of that. Let's make money anyway, anytime. Really quickly, just a question here. First of all, I love the call butterfly there in case there's an extended run here. One of the things that we've been talking about recently, especially with some of these big cap techs, is just these trillion-dollar companies that just move an incredible amount. If you're holding on to a winner and you're unsure, do I book this here? Do I leave it on? it almost seems like these butterflies are a really good way to maybe book some of the gains in the bigger trade that you have, open up the butterfly positions that you still have upside exposure in case that move extends. You're not missing it, albeit you'll probably have less gains from that. This to me seems like a pretty decent strategy anytime you hook one of these big things that moves to the upside.
Absolutely.
So maybe maximizing some of that profit on the end.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Okay. And I mean, it's 63-cent debit, very easy to define your risk ahead of that. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one I have on the list is Halliburton. And so we've seen a lot of defense stocks on the move. I think that's going to continue to rise. I think defense is going to continue to rise. This one is right at a potential gap fill event, but it spent, look at how much time it spent here creating a base.
Yep.
And then in this, literally just today, it's broken out. Could it be that a lot of people were saying, hey, I'm going to short that $23 marker every time it comes up there? And now they're like, row, I got to get out of here. And so it could be a little bit of a short squeeze getting us out, but the pullback into the frame should do fairly well as defense. I suspect defense stocks are going to continue to hold. So how would I look at that? Well, for me, I'm going to look for, and this is not a trade you would normally see me take, simply because it's just got a tight range of motion. The volatility, remember, it's only a $24 stock. Could it go to 50? Yeah, but the goal is, what is the fastest, cheapest, and easiest way to get myself a good return? And the return here is, 2.75x. So 275% if it goes from 25 to 27 into October, where that major seasonality sits. If you say, hey, I'm looking for something bigger and I want to hang on to this, then moving it into December, not a bad idea. And you can move wider, but still, because the vol is lower, you're not going to get the juicy returns that you would normally see, for a $4 spread way out in the future. And if you did decide, hey, I want to do a butterfly, that might be great. But my suspicion is, if these tech stocks start running under the heat of whatever happens, wherever, I mean, we could easily see 32, right? So I would rather not butterfly this. I would rather go, hey, let's call spread it. The butterfly is going to leave room for exposure that we might not want and complications that we don't actually need. And so, if you're saying to yourself, well, okay, what if this does move? I would like to have some of this on the cheap. Then, you can sell the December 22s for 87 cents and give yourself a position in a very strong defense name.
Okay.
Which brings me to our next one, KTOS.
Oh, Kratos. Good old Kratos.
This thing has been
a monster.
What can you say, right? Now, full disclosure, I have no clue what kind of news is driving this. But what I can say is my oscillator reading is really high. My oscillator is really high, and it's a 2%, it's a retracement and an extension of this entire range that literally lasted. The breakout of the region began in August, and it stayed there for, until it retested on September the 17th. It's done a 100% retracement, extension. And so it could easily take a breath here before moving to the next base. Seasonality is a little bit flat. And so, of course, because I am the Iron Condor lady, I said, hey, let's go to November. It's very choppy from a seasonality perspective, but let's go to November and let's sell the 90.95s and the 72.50, 67.50s. It's a tight spread, but $2.85 is more than half the distance to that space.
Yeah.
And it's only got a delta of, 0.4, which means that's 0.4% that it ends up in the money based on, what the spreads are telling us. So
real quickly here on Kratos, this is a defense name that's all over the place. They have their toes dipped in a lot of things, from microwave electronic products, space, training, cybersecurity, drones. They have the whole 9 yards. The recent piece of news here, shares are trading higher. Elroy Air selected the company as its exclusive U.S. manufacturing partner for the Chaparral in a new 5-year strategic manufacturing agreement for the production of its hybrid electric autonomous VTOL cargo drone. So you're getting a multi-year deal here, right in Katos's wheelhouse. This actually sounds pretty good for some more upside.
Yeah. And so if you really want to just say, hey, listen, I just want to trade the upside here, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
The November 90-100 call spread, $2.60. Right? It's just, it looks pretty good. If you want to go into January, I think, depending on how this year does, January might give us a little bit of a seasonality event, but again, $3. And so it looks pretty good. My thought is that it will trend, but normally when we have a range that's been made over a month and we move back through and up to a 1x, meaning we go 100 times, or you know what I'm saying, two times the range, it normally comes back for a retest and then reloads. And so that's why I've got 72.50 as the short put event. Now, if you say, hey, I just want to do the short put because I really like this, absolutely you can do that. That is the 72.50. It's got some really nice premium on it. It'll give you a little bit of movement, right? You can have that, gives you $1.40. And if you're buying that November 90-10 call for $2.75 or so, and you go, hey, here's my credit, it cuts your exposure in half. So
okay, I like it.
That one. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Look at me.
I was going to say, you weren't kidding about the flurry. Here we go.
I am so excited that I got with Aaron. He helped me fix everything.
Amazing. Sounds and looks great. So
I am so happy. I was like, I got to get all this ready for Ryan, so he'll be happy. So here we've got CSX. We've got a lot of things floating around in the news in terms of freight. CSX is strong as a company. The one thing that I'm staring down is this interesting move that went from, 37 all the way to 31. So what is that? Like 20%, right? That move is gigantic. 10% is $3, right? So that's a gigantic move down, and they based at that 33, broke out. The goal, of course, they're going to try to get to that 50% retracement level at 35. They'll have a little bit of a battleground. The oscillator, pointing up nicely. I'd like to see momentum do a little bit better. So I put it out further in time. We have a sneaky suspicion it's going to get to 35, stay there, and then recover back to 37. That is $1.10, just flat out buying the call. Flat out buying the call. If you want to be a little bit more conservative and you say, hey, yeah, I don't know, I want to make some money. Again, in an unusual space, I've gone in the money for the call and done the spread at the top of the target. So this is 2.5 to 1 in terms of upside motion. So it's 5 wide, $2, and we could get $3 on the upside. So that's what's going on with CSX. It's got good seasonality on it. And so the big reason that I have so many bullish trades today is sort of twofold. Irrespective of the fact that we could get a bit of a pullback, the pervasive bid underneath the market is unrelenting. And so what we have to wait for is for something to change. So have we had news that's changed? No. Fed speaking that's changed? No. We might get a little wobble today when Fed Powell begins to speak at 12:45, but that pervasive bid is going to get bought. Why? In a converse way, I think way too many people tried to short this market.
I think you're right. I think you're right. We talked about, look, we were part of it. We talked about the seasonality.
Exactly.
I even started talking about sell Rosh Hashanah, buy Yom Kippur, which, Rosh Hashanah started yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think there were just so many people that were on one side. You know what the market does when that's the case. It punishes those folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go until the getting's good.
Okay.
And all we have to do is say, let me see the floor. And if it recovers within 2 days, which is literally all we've needed to lift off the floor of anything, then we just, keep calm and carry on.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And I still have 9 minutes.
We have a request for Amazon.
Great.
If that's okay. Amazon kind of having a wild day today.
Anything for my peeps.
Oh, let's go. You hear that, folks? Where else do you get this? Nowhere. None.
Especially if she means it. And she does. You know me. I'm a Pollyanna. This morning I got up singing, you know that Rubber Tree Plant song?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. What? Oh, I forgot. It fell out of my head. It's about an ant that moves a rubber tree plant. What just makes that silly old ant think you can move that rubber tree plant?
So you got up singing?
I did. I got up out of bed.
Mood.
I always get up in a good mood. My husband says that it's some kind of deranged event.
That's the Frank Sinatra song High Hopes, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
So
look, you'll always get bonus points for a Frank Sinatra reference around this show. So just gonna throw that one out there.
There we go.
Sorry, Egg, you actually took me a little bit, but there you go. Good stuff, guys.
So here we are with Amazon. Now, this is very interesting. So I did this with the Benzinga Pro folks. We talked about Amazon being really long in the tooth here. And so we had a new high and we had a cumulative delta that was falling, meaning people weren't being as aggressive buying. And then our oscillator also began to fall as prices moved up. So I said, hey, let's wait a bit. I think this thing pulls back. Now we are opening. This is the monthly open, $224. Traders are trying to hold it. So the question is, what are they going to do here? And how can we tell if they actually are going to be successful holding this? So my suspicion is the following. If they close the day here, it looks like a pretty good space to position small upside. So you might go, well, what if it's not a good day, but I want to position anyway? You could look to the left and go, okay, we had a big volume candlestick back here. That means the floor needs to hold at 220. That's going to be your risk threshold. And so if you buy it here, you're thinking about it going to 230. And so if you're saying to yourself, hey, things should go okay, you can choose October, and you can buy the 225, and let's give it a little bit of room.
Okay.
Sell the 235. You could do a 1 by 3 by 2 here because it's got room for us. And it gives you about $2.46 of exposure for the move back up through the range. If you think to yourself, I think it's going to slow down a little, then you simply could go nice and easy and buy the 227.50, 232.50 spread. It's $1.75, $500 of upside in the space total. So you'd get about 325. Also very nice. And if you think 220 is going to be a floor, you can sell the 215, 210 spread and pay for almost half of one and more than half of the other.
Okay, we still have time. How about Micron? They report earnings tonight. Can we get a Micron trade for earnings?
Yeah, let's do
Good
it.
call, Roadhog.
Let's take a look at this. Wow. Okay, so momentum and trend look pretty good still. It made a high 4 days ago, and volume has been dipping into this edge, probably because they're thinking about this. So there's a floor that the buyers have held here at about 160. And if they lose that floor, probably goes to 150. So, and of course, you don't really want any of that to happen. It's gapped up a lot. So I don't know how these guys do filling their gaps. It appears that they leave many of their gaps unfilled, right? Look at this one. That one barely filled. But we've got a slurry of upside gaps that have not filled. And so eventually that's going to, bear things out, but it isn't a topping formation here. Let's see if it gives us a little bit of juice to the upside and then a little bit of juice to the downside. Let's see. Do we want a gambling man kind of trade, or do we want to give time to this trade? What are you thinking?
Well, what does the implied volatility say for earnings? It looks like if we're trading just the weekly contract, it's astronomical. So maybe we should put some extra time on.
Perfect. Yeah. If you're selling an option, that's a good space to go. If you're trying to buy the option, it's better because we are going to have volatility crush in any measure. And so I like butterflies when we are planning for volatility crush. If per happenstance this chart fades, 145, 155, 135. If you're thinking about downside pressure, it's $1.24. They're calling for a $23 move. You could always turn that into, because it's got 10 points there, you could turn it into a 3 and then make this a 40, and you would have 2 of those. That's $1. I like that for potential downside. Let's see if we can do it on the upside. So if they're thinking about $23, that puts us at 180. 180-ish. So maybe we do 170. Wow, those are expensive. And we do the same thing. Because we're going to have a vol crush. 93 cents. You know what, folks? Me likey this one. I actually am going to take this one. What do you think?
I had myself on mute. Sorry. Less than $2 total exposure for both
Exactly.
here on this trade on that binary event.
Mm-hmm. I like this one.
Okay. Roadhog, good suggestion, man.
Thank you.
Good job. And Anne-Marie, look at the time. It's almost as if you planned that perfectly. It's almost as if you planned that perfectly. That's what we're going to go with. Anne-Marie, really good stuff. Listen, I'm not going to be here on Friday. Will you be here?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll definitely set that up. Everything looks good here. I'm attending a teammate's wedding this weekend, so I will be out of town. It should be fun, though. We'll see Anne-Marie again on Friday. Anne-Marie, thank you so much for everything here today. Good job running through a big list there.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to be on a webinar later. We'll check it out. Take care, Anne-Marie.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, that's it for today. Really good stuff across the board, from participation to questions to idea generation. You folks were here for it. We are going to send you over to Paul Meeks and Tech Tune Up right now. Again, the stream will take you to Powell when that speech, starts. Stay green.